Chapter 145. He had offended 3 people in one go, and all of them were geniuses among the longevity realm disciples. He wanted to cry, but no tears came out. For 3 treasures, he had offended so many powerful enemies. In the future, there would be danger everywhere in the immortal sealing sect, and this trial would last for 3 months. Who knew how many people Su Fong would offend at the end? After leaving the profound cave, he met a few experts from other sects on the way until he found a profound cave with dense spiritual fog. It didn't seem to have any treasures. Su Fong planned to rest for a while before looking at that ring. It seemed to be helpful in cultivating magic power. Buzz. Just as he stepped into this ordinary profound cave space, his right arm suddenly moved. Su Fong immediately stopped and looked around. He felt something was wrong, because the movement in his right arm came from the treasure spirit vein. It meant that profound yellow had sensed something. It had to be known that the violet chi law spirit from the outside world had the ability to sense treasures. Could it be that this profound cave had a treasure? Profound yellow excitedly said, "Master, there's a treasure, a huge treasure, a huge treasure." Su Fong felt it was impossible. How could there be a huge treasure in this ordinary profound cave? Thinking about it, he still urged the violet chi law spirit in his right arm to sense the location of the treasure. Profound yellow's reaction became stronger and stronger, leading Su Fong into the depths of the spiritual fog. Then he approached the cliff on the right. In front of him was a cave that had been blown out by the wind. The cave wasn't big, but there were many of them. From a distance, it looked like a hornet's nest. Arriving in front of him, there were caves that could accommodate adults, some that could only accommodate children, and some that could accommodate several adults at the same time. After sensing carefully, he immediately entered one of them. It was just enough for one person. Above the cave, there was a pine tree. It seemed to have a very long lifespan because it was emitting a shocking amount of spiritual chi. After entering the cave, he saw the roots of the pine tree. There were other plants growing inside the cave. Behind the roots, under profound yellow's guidance, he took out a round white jade. It was only a bit bigger than a grape. The jade was very round, and there was nothing extraordinary about it. There were no runes or shocking spiritual chi. Xian Huang was a little disappointed when he saw Su Fong. "Master, this jade stone contains an astonishing amount of natural spiritual energy. You can let the Peng King take a look. You should be able to see something." "That's right. There's an old antique like Green Feather King. He must know something." His mind brought the jade stone into the space of the first layer of mysterious yellow. Blue Feather King also knew that Su Fong wanted to enter, so he stopped cultivating. When he saw the jade stone in Su Fong's hand, he seemed to see some clues. He took the jade and examined it for a moment, then handed it to Su Fong. "This is a token used to unlock a seal. There are already astonishing seals inside, and it can be considered a magical treasure, especially the natural spiritual energy of the jade. I reckon there should be more than one piece here. There should be 3 to 5 pieces, and when combined together, they should be able to unlock some kind of seal. Ancient tokens like this are usually left behind in the mortal world when a powerful cultivator died or ascended to the great world. They created tokens and left them behind in the mortal world. A fated person would find the token, open the Tao, and obtain the treasure that the cultivator left behind before ascending. Seems like it really is a supreme treasure. Token just like the 7 stars chasing life sword. The treasury left behind by the Star Dual Dynasty needed 3 7 stars chasing life swords to open the treasury. The round jade stone in his hand was also a similar token, a magic weapon. Unfortunately, who knew how many of these jades there were and where they were distributed? He would store it first. Maybe he would not find other tokens in his life. Maybe one day, he would be able to get other jades. Sitting cross-legged in the cave, he put away the jade stone and took out the ring he got before. It was a black ring, like it was made of black stone. After observing for a moment, he did not dare to fuse it at will. He could only ask the Green Feather King. Green Feather King quickly came to a conclusion. This is a ring that assists in magic power cultivation. It can be considered a treasure, and its quality is on the high side of the middle grade. It's not an offensive or defensive magic treasure, but a middle-grade auxiliary magic item. Auxiliary magic weapon. It seemed there were many kinds of magic weapons. Don't look down on this ring. When you urge your magic power, it can help you increase the speed of your magic power condensation. For example, condensing Daluo Heavensword Chi would take 3 seconds, but with this ring's assistance, you only need 1 second or even faster. And when your Divine Aperture's magic power is weak, it can help you condense magic power. With this ring, you won't have to worry about magic power in the future. So it's also a treasure. All right, I'll fuse with it. In other words, it was a treasure that everyone needed and wanted. Thinking about how he would meet a longevity realm expert in the profound cave, he immediately thought of fusing with the ring. He condensed a drop of blood and fused it with the ring. The ring buzzed, and after a moment, the ring became even brighter, automatically appearing on his finger. This scene made him think of the spirit concealment ring. Unfortunately, it was already broken, and its quality was too low. Even if it was in perfect condition, he would not be able to use it now. His mind entered the ring, and a large number of restrictions appeared. Magic power surged inside. When he urged the restrictions inside, the magic power inside began to circulate, resonating with Su Feng's magic power. As expected, he could urge the magic power of his divine aperture. Profound magic ring. He also found the name of the ring. There were some runes inside, all of which contained magic power. As for the profound magic ring, it was probably because it was a support item, so its quality was not very sturdy. He estimated that a low-grade magic tool would be able to break the profound magic ring. This time, he had to properly cherish it. Even if he entered the undying realm or the imperishable realm, the profound magic ring could still be used. Urging the profound magic ring to assist in the condensation of magic power. Sure enough, he could feel that the speed of the condensation of magic power was 5 times faster than normal. This meant that in the future, when he cultivated magic power, it would be 5 times faster than normal people. After cultivating for a day and taking a few pure origin pills, Su Feng felt that it was very strange. His strength seemed to have increased again. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before he could quickly advance to the 4th stage of Heaven Fusion Realm in the Celestial Sealing Sect. After recuperating and honing his strength, Su Feng flew out of the profound cave. He once again advanced into the depths of the profound cave, passing through several profound cave spaces, dodging the profound cave storms that appeared from time to time. Damned monster. Its strength is actually close to the peak of the longevity realm. A man's helpless sigh came from the spiritual mist in front of him. It seemed that there was another treasure, but it was difficult to obtain. Monster. Normal people would be afraid, but Su Feng just happened to be the nemesis of monsters. After a short moment, Su Feng saw more than 10 longevity realms from different dojos, as well as a few disciples whose cultivation had reached the peak of Heaven Fusion Realm. They were currently pacing back and forth outside a profound cave that was exploding with demonic aura. It's a disciple of my Ice Moon Dojo. Too bad it's a Heaven Fusion Realm cultivator. Among them, there was a longevity realm male who also came from Ice Moon Dojo, but he shouldn't be controlled by Yan Kaifeng, because Su Feng also saw him, but he didn't have the slightest impression of him. The other disciples also shot a few glances, no longer paying attention to Su Feng, treating him as a passerby watching the excitement. With his cultivation, he could only be a bystander. Someone asked curiously, a few of the more powerful senior brothers went in. I wonder if they obtained any treasures. And Su Feng came to the front of the profound cave, feeling the demonic aura. He discovered that it was indeed a very powerful monster. Its strength even surpassed Dao Wuliang. Most likely it had already condensed a gold core for a very long time. For this kind of monster, a Heaven Fusion Realm was no match at all, unless it was a powerful longevity realm powerhouse. Su Feng was not afraid of the demonic aura. In the instant when many people were not paying attention, with a huff, he directly flew into the demonic aura space. That kid is courting death. Someone snorted and laughed. Entering the demonic aura space, he immediately heard the sounds of fighting. After entering a few hundred meters into the demonic aura space, above a layer of barrier, there was a treasure chest floating. A monster with black and red body armor. Like a big kangaroo, its fangs were 3 feet long, and so were its claws. Its speed was astonishing, and it was preventing the 3 powerhouses from approaching the treasure chest. The monster's speed was somewhat like a frog's jump, or it could jump horizontally. The speed of each jump was clearly faster than the 3 Longevity Realm disciples. Looking at the cultivation of these 3 powerhouses, they were between Longevity Realm level 5 to level 7, and were also considered powerhouses. Although they couldn't be compared to geniuses like Mu Jing and Cheng Jianxia, they were also powerful figures. Su Fong grabbed the cold frost sword, circled around from the side, and flew into the barrier. He knew that the monster's advantage was speed, and was ready to spit out smoke at any time. Human. When he was still 100 feet away from the treasure chest, the monster found Su Fong. With a few cracking sounds, it shattered the attacks of the 3 powerhouses. Suddenly, it jumped like a shadow directly in front of Su Fong. Its claws were only a foot away from Su Fong. Chi-Chi. At the critical moment, the smoke was combined with the dragon snake roll. At the same time that Su Fong retreated, it was activated and turned into a poisonous dragon snake roll, entangling the monster's chest. The poisonous gas shook the monster until it hurriedly retreated, and a large piece of its fur was corroded. That kid is only at Heavenly Fusion Realm. Why is he so powerful? The 3 powerhouses at the side finally stabilized their bodies, but when they saw that Su Fong was actually able to release smoke to fight against the monster, who wouldn't be surprised? The 3 powerhouses pounced on the treasure chest again. Everyone wanted to get the treasure. One of them said, "Inside this treasure chest is the 3rd level of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, one of the 7 divine powers. If you get it, you can peek at the 3rd level first." Unfortunately, the 3 of them were directly sent flying by the monster that jumped over. So, it's a cultivation technique. Divine powers aren't very useful to me. Suddenly, Su Fong wanted to give up on fighting for the treasure. With the smoke protecting him, even the monster was a bit afraid of him. His eyes turned, and when he saw the 3 powerhouses fighting, he suddenly shouted, "I don't want to cultivate the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. If any of you are willing to exchange pure origin pills, I'll take the cultivation technique and give it to you." One of the men from the Vulture Grotto Heaven was the first to respond. "I'm willing. 1,000 Heavenly Fusion Pure Origin Pills. I'll pay 3,000. Another disciple from the Ethereal Dojo also competed to bid. 1,000, 3,000? How stingy. I'll pay 1,000 Immortality Pure Origin Pills. The other was an expert from the Heaven and Earth Dojo. He was from the same dojo as Mu Jing, so they should know each other. Deal. Su Fong activated a large amount of smoke, turning it into a protective poison gas defense, and immediately pounced on the treasure chest. That monster couldn't wait to eat Su Fong. Just as it was about to stop him, it was entangled by the expert from the Heaven and Earth Dojo. The other 2 powerhouses wanted to stop Su Fong. However, the monster was also unwilling to give up. It entangled one expert after another. In fact, it didn't want to stop Su Fong because he had the smoke protecting him. Even a monster didn't want to provoke him. The illusion cloud rope flew out and wrapped around the treasure chest. After Su Fong caught it, he saw that it was indeed a silver scroll. It should be the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw cultivation technique. Give me the pure origin pills first. Su Fong continued to release the smoke, and then shouted at the man from the Heaven and Earth Dojo. Whoosh! The other party was also very direct. He threw an empty bag and then tried to fly towards Su Fong. At the same time, he stopped the other 2 powerhouses from snatching the cultivation technique. After Su Fong checked it, he immediately flicked the silver scroll towards the man. He immediately turned and flew out of the barrier. Chapter 146. You're really willing to part with 1,000. In a profound cave, the 3 Immortal Realm experts had no intention of staying any longer, because that demon was stamping with rage. After leaving this layer of space, the other two experts eyed the Chinken Dojo expert covetously, but even if they made a move now, it would be hard for them to snatch the technique. With this level of mental cultivation, it can help me advance to the undying realm in advance. Isn't it better? The sect's rules are too strict. No disciple can privately pass on the 7 great divine abilities. The man was also somewhat reluctant. After all, it was 1,000 pure origin pills. His heart was bleeding. That person is a Frost Moon Dojo disciple. I forgot to ask his name. Lingren sighed. A Heaven Union Stage 3 disciple can actually control the smoke signal as he wishes. I suddenly remembered that someone mentioned before that there was a Frost Moon Dojo disciple who was also Heaven Union Stage, but his ability was shocking, causing many experts to suffer. For example, Frost Moon Dojo's Sword Rider. I heard that he wanted to snatch that disciple's treasure, but was instead injured by the other party. Now that you mention it, I've also heard of this before, but I thought it was nonsense. Could it be that brat, just now? Seems like there's an 80% chance that it's this brat. I can't see that he's a character. Since he caused those experts to suffer, he must have obtained many treasures. The 3 experts discussed for a while, then their eyes suddenly flickered with a few rays of coldness. Following that, they cupped their fists one by one and flew off in different directions. 1,000 Immortal Realm Pure Origin Pills. This would give Su Fong an additional power when he advanced to the Immortal Realm. Who would have thought that the 3rd level of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw technique would be so valuable? In other words, even if an Immortal Realm expert wanted to cultivate the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, it would also not be easy. At most, they could cultivate the 2nd level, so they needed the 3rd level. According to the rules, one would have to reach the next level of cultivation or complete the level of cultivation to obtain the next level of cultivation. However, these immortal level powerhouses wanted to master more powerful divine abilities, and they would try their best to obtain the next level of cultivation. Passing through layers of spirit fog, they entered an even deeper layer of the profound cave. At this moment, he saw a large space with a few hundred people sitting cross-legged and resting. Disciples of the 7 major dojos could be seen everywhere. Among the people who came here, there were very few Heaven Union disciples. Most of them were longevity realms. Su Fong slowed down. Seeing that so many experts were resting, he wanted to fly down. In the end, he saw that there were many profound caverns below. From time to time, wind blades would shoot out. No wonder so many experts were resting. They had no choice but to enter the depths of the profound caverns in their strongest state. Su Fong came to a rock and sat down cross-legged. He looked around and saw the disciples of the Ice Moon Dojo. They still did not take him seriously. Recently, there's a Heavenly Union disciple from the Ice Moon Dojo. He's very impressive, causing many immortal-level experts to suffer. It's just a rumor. How can there be such a powerful Heaven Union realm disciple? The sect has held countless 100 years of trials, and only a few times have this kind of character appeared. In any case, if we encounter any Heaven Union realm disciples from Ice Moon Dojo in the future, we must be on our guard. During this time, some people were chatting. They did not know that the legendary figure was sitting among them. I just heard that Heavenly Union realm disciple from the Ice Moon Dojo obtained quite a few treasures. They're all precious treasures. Many people are looking for him. If he's in the limelight, the hunter will shoot the bird that sticks out. It'd be great if we encountered him. Killing a Heaven Union realm disciple would allow us to exchange for a large amount of treasures. Would we still need to risk our lives in the dangerous, profound caverns to fight for treasures? There were actually people openly discussing how to find Su Fong and kill him to steal his treasures. Su Fong originally did not care about this, but when he heard this, his heart skipped a beat. He cursed in his heart who was so immoral. They actually said he had precious treasures on him. Wouldn't that make him the public enemy of all the disciples in the profound caverns? Fortunately, these people don't know what I look like. If they did, I probably wouldn't have anywhere to run. He still had a kind of shivering feeling. It was as if everyone was staring at him from behind, as if a hand of darkness was reaching out to him. Fortunately, there were quite a few Heavenly Union Realm disciples from the Ice Moon Dojo participating in this trial. If there were only a few, everyone would definitely suspect him. Next, if it's not a special treasure, I can't casually attack. After resting for half a day, a few people were heading downwards. Su Fong took advantage of the chaos and followed them. Something's wrong. Dodging a few wind blades from below the profound caverns, Su Fong heard the sound of something breaking through the air behind him. He deliberately increased his speed. That sound also became faster and faster. Furthermore, the distance was very close. Su Fong instantly turned around and saw a Longevity Realm man. It turned out to be a Longevity Realm disciple from the Myriad Dao Grotto. His cultivation was at the 3rd level of the Longevity Realm. He was not very strong. Clearly, the other party suspected that he was a Heaven Union Realm disciple from the Ice Moon Dojo who had precious treasures on him. Whoosh whoosh, he instantly increased his speed and flew through the spirit fog world on the frost sword. That person also chased after him. Su Fong's speed became faster and faster. Especially when he heard wind blades appear, he used natural wind blades to sweep past, using that to avoid that expert. This move was indeed effective. In just a moment, Su Fong had shaken off that person. Fortunately, it wasn't a Longevity Realm expert. And, with such a deep, profound caverns, there should be treasures hidden in many places or sealed by barriers. Only now did he pay attention to his surroundings. Other than the spirit fog, there were all kinds of underground rocks and steep cliffs. Releasing his hearing, Su Fong slowed down his speed. After entering a profound caverns, he had to listen for any movements. He had to sense if there was any demonic aura, or let Xian Huang sense the aura of any special treasures. Master, there's the aura of a special treasure. It's right in front of us. There's still some distance left. Xian Huang suddenly said in pleasant surprise. Su Fong increased his speed and entered another profound caverns. Sure enough, he saw a barrier. This barrier was very extraordinary. It enveloped the entire profound caverns. With such a large barrier, the inside must be extraordinary, and the aura of a special treasure was coming from inside. It seemed that there was a special treasure inside. Should he go in? Su Fong was sure that his luck wouldn't be good. He was the first person to enter this barrier. Perhaps there were experts fighting for treasures inside. And to be able to come here, they must be people like Sword Rider or even more powerful people. His scalp hardened. Since he was already here, he couldn't be a coward here. He immediately stepped into the barrier. Layers of clouds appeared in front of him. The clouds were slowly curling about. Some of them were surging in different directions. It was a bit strange. Furthermore, there were different wind sounds coming from inside. It seemed to be a bamboo forest. But how could there be a bamboo forest in an underground space like the profound caverns? If there was one, it meant this place was even more extraordinary. Su Fong listened to the sound of the wind and watched the clouds churn. Sometimes it was as if he had merged with this world. He could not sense any threatening aura. The wind was like a mirage, and he also saw mountain shadows. He really couldn't tell what kind of existence this profound caverns was. After a while, Su Fong continued to slowly fly forward, but he didn't see any treasures or monsters. He didn't see a single disciple of the Celestial Sealing Sect. But suddenly, some purple chi appeared in front of him. It seemed a bit familiar. Focusing his gaze, he saw a mountain within the purple chi. It was a purple chi mountain just like the one behind Tianzong City. After a moment of bewilderment, he carefully looked again. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of two tombs. Su Fong was also very familiar with the tombs. They seemed to be the tombs of his mother and grandfather. Could it be father? Su Fong increased his speed and approached that figure. That figure also turned around. It was Su Yaotian. He waved his hand at Su Fong and muttered, "Child, father has let down your family. Your mother, your grandfather, and you." "Father." Su Fong excitedly stepped forward and entered the purple chi world. Su Yaotian took a few steps back. "After something happened to your father, the first thing I did was rush back to the family. But when I learned that your mother had passed away because of me, The entire family was still brooding over the fact that I had taken away the falling moon blade, so I didn't acknowledge you. But I stayed in front of your mother's grave for an entire year. Those were the happiest days of my life, but I still hate myself. If it weren't for me, how could your mother have passed away? I've caused you to be weak and sickly since you were young, and I've also caused my old father to wash my face with tears every day. I've also been criticized by my family members. I'm not a good father, nor am I a good son. I'm not a good father. I'm not a good father. Su Fong was heartbroken. It was like he could see Su Yaoyan's disfigured face behind a mask. Just how much had he suffered? Father, this isn't your fault. If you want to blame someone, blame Zhao. If you want to blame someone, blame the heavens. It has nothing to do with you. Father, you should let go of everything and start new. How could it have nothing to do with me? Child, come here. I can only look at you from afar and miss you. Su Fong opened his arms, wanting to pull Su Fong into his embrace. He had only just taken a step when a fierce roar rang out in his head. It was like some kind of energy had viciously slammed into his head. Then he watched as Su Yaotian left. The purple Qi world vanished, and the only thing in front of him was the Xianguang. There were no images, but there were still some strange clouds and wind. Just now, Su Fong looked at himself suspiciously. It was like he had just had a dream. The dream was very real. It was like he had really been born. You entered an illusion, and your soul was controlled by this formation, said the Green Feather King. An illusion? He looked around. He had entered an illusion formation. This was an existence that everyone feared. Once you fell into it, you would never be able to leave. You would be lost inside, waiting for death. Terrifying. Just the illusion formation wouldn't be able to deal with you. Your Tao heart is also very strong. But this formation is created from a true treasure. The formation is fused with the treasure. Once you step in here, it's like you've entered a world in your head. Your memories will be overturned, and you won't be able to extricate yourself, explained the Green Feather King. And within this formation, there should be a true treasure. Not only is it high grade, but it's also a strange treasure that can bewitch the soul and control a person's mind. High-grade enchanted item, then wasn't it right under the Xian Huang Six Paths Pagoda? A true treasure. This truly was a true treasure. But Su Fong was stuck in a dilemma. With his previous experience, he didn't want to rashly enter again. Kid, why are you suddenly so scared? What are you afraid of? You've already been caught in an illusion, so don't think about anything else. Make sure your heart is clear. In truth, you have the best ability to break through illusions, and that's your hearing. It's easy to hallucinate what you see and hear, but with just your hearing, you can hear everything within the formation. A giant that had lived for over 10,000 years was truly different. Su Fong immediately used his perfect ability. Closing his eyes, he gradually heard some movement. The sound of breathing, the sound of luck. After about 300 meters, he saw a figure. That figure swayed along with the clouds. It was like a willow tree. From the looks of it, it was a female disciple. When he got closer, he saw that it really was a woman. She was also an expert of the misty Tao rite. Her cultivation base was at the longevity realm, but she had also been caught in an illusion. Seven-colored, soul-absorbing bell. Seven-colored, soul-absorbing bell is mine, muttered the woman. Chapter 147. Rainbow, soul-sucking bell. This female cultivator from the misty Tao rite was an outstanding beauty, but her eyes were lost, and she was struggling madly. It seemed she was being tormented by the illusion formation. With Green Feather King's warning, Su Fong wouldn't easily get close to her. Although he wanted to help, this was a special time. Saving someone was equivalent to killing someone. The misty Tao rite was one of the strongest Tao rites in the Immortal Sealing sect. He continued forward, entering another formation, but he didn't expect to run into two more Tao rites. They were both in the longevity realm, and they might even be stronger than Sword Rider. Unfortunately, in front of a grade-level magic treasure, not to mention an immortal level, even an undying or imperishable powerhouse would be attacked by the illusion formation. Su Fong had experienced an illusion before. The illusion formation attacked a cultivator's weakest soul. No longevity expert will be able to come here. 7-colored treasure light. Finally, he arrived at the center of the formation. After restraining all kinds of illusions, he arrived in front of a 7-colored light. A fist-sized 7-colored bell was floating in the middle of the 7-colored light. It should be embedded with a special spirit stone or gem. Layers of Xian Guang intertwined with each other, making it seem like the bell didn't exist. Green Feather King introduced, it's a high-grade Dharma treasure, the rainbow, soul-sucking bell. The Immortal Sealing sect has detailed records of all high-grade Dharma treasures. This king has heard of it before. It's an ordinary high-grade Dharma treasure, but it's an extremely useful one. Even undead experts can be controlled by it. Kid, you've struck gold this time. Since Senior said it's a good treasure, it naturally can't be bad. Su Fong prepared to take the rainbow, soul-sucking bell. Green Feather King continued. The Immortal Sealing sect seems to place great importance on this 100-year trial. They might have other high-grade Dharma treasures. Kid, once you take the rainbow, soul-sucking bell, this illusion formation will immediately disappear. You have to leave quickly. Otherwise, if others know you have it, it'll be difficult for you to leave alive. Buzz. After controlling his breathing, Su Fong didn't hesitate. He grabbed the rainbow, soul-sucking bell, preparing to empty it. Whoosh! A human figure flew out of the illusion, seemingly out of control of the 7-colored, soul-absorbing bell. A young man materialized from the shadows. He had long hair and was dressed in a white robe. I didn't expect someone to be one step ahead of me and come here to seize the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell. When a young man appeared, Su Fong hurriedly put the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell into his empty bag. Then, he looked at the man's ornaments and token. It turned out that he was a disciple of the Heaven and Earth Dojo. At first glance, Su Fong could feel that the man was extraordinarily strong. He was not an ordinary immortal-level powerhouse either. He had an indescribable power. The man stood with his hands behind his back and smiled. Treasures can only be obtained by fate. I once snatched the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell. I'm a person who goes with the flow. If it's mine, no one could take it away from me. If it's not mine, it depends on whether I'm in a good mood. If I'm not in a good mood, I won't take it even if you give it to me. This person is truly interesting. You don't want a high-grade magic weapon? To be kidding, among the 7 great dojos, not to mention the Immortal Heaven, even the Immortal Heaven's undying realm powerhouses in the Immortal Heaven would not snatch the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell. Su Fong was on guard. If the other party said one thing and did another, he would suffer a great loss. Someone is coming. I didn't expect to meet such an interesting person here when I came to see the glory of the Mortal Rankings top 10 experts. The white-robed man smiled faintly. Like a friend, he took a step forward and disappeared from this space. Once the former left, the latter immediately flew away. However, before he could fly far, he heard many people flying in front of him. They seemed to have come to snatch the treasure. Su Fong had an idea. He immediately pretended to be dizzy and struggling in pain. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 6 immortal-level disciples flew over. When they saw Su Fong, they did not find it strange. One of them sighed. A Heaven's Union realm disciple really doesn't know what's good for him. He dares to come here. I heard that the rainbow soul-absorbing bell is in this formation. A disciple of the Ice Moon Dojo. If we rush over, we might have a chance to get the rainbow soul-absorbing bell. These experts treated Su Fong as someone who had barged into the formation and was controlled by the illusion. He had just woken up and was in a state worse than death. Once they left, Su Fong stepped on the cold frost sword and flew out of the formation. When he arrived at the profound cave, Su Fong finally let out a sigh of relief. Unexpected. When Su Fong found a safe place and was about to check the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell, he heard the Green Feather King sigh. This made Su Fong scratch his head. Why would a giant of a generation be like this? The Green Feather King said, in the past, this king was trapped in the Immortal Sealing sect and constantly searched for their foundation. I heard that several desolate physiques have appeared in the Immortal Sealing sect. In the future, several extremely powerful disciples will be born. At that time, the immortal sealing sect will truly become the #1 power in the Crimson Firmament continent and unify the Crimson Firmament continent. Desolate physique. This was the first time Su Fong had heard this term. The physiques of the mortal world's cultivators are mostly called spiritual physiques or saint physiques. The stronger the mortal, the desolate physique, originated from the ancient era of desolation. Those inconceivable geniuses possessed this physique. The desolate physique is also called the immortal physique. In a mortal world, how could there be a desolate physique? How could a mortal possess the power or aptitude of an immortal? Once a mortal possesses a desolate physique, that person will definitely ascend from a small world to a large world and become an immortal that surpasses mortals. However, the desolate physique is only a legend and only humans possess it. It is impossible for a desolate physique to appear in the fiend race or devil race. To the fiend race, any human with a desolate physique is a great enemy. Senior, could it be that the white-robed man from before possessed a desolate physique? It's that young human. His cultivation has reached the great circle of the immortality realm and is one step away from the undying realm. There are desolate physiques in the immortal sealing sect. There were 2 of them before. They are the treasures of the immortal sealing sect and are also true geniuses. This king sensed their auras several times when they were cultivating in the depths of the immortal sealing sect. The desolate physique is too special. A mortal's body has the aura of a large world. As for that human, he should have just entered the immortal sealing sect not long ago and is currently cultivating diligently. I'm afraid that the immortal sealing sect has been secretly nurturing him. There is always someone stronger than you. There is always a mountain higher than you. Desolate physique. This was an existence that surpassed the immortal physique of the immortal sealing sect. It was also an existence that surpassed geniuses. That man was the true genius of the immortal sealing sect. Greenfeather King said, there are many types of desolate physiques. Different desolate physiques have different abilities and divine abilities. If you encounter such a person in the future, do not make an enemy out of them. They are destined to become immortals in the future. What a joke. If Su Fong could choose, he would rather never make an enemy out of such a peerless disciple. They were destined to be immortals. Even if they casually cultivated, their karmic luck would surpass any other cultivator. Even if they did not work hard, they would still become immortals in the future. After a moment of silence, he took out the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell. He carefully examined it. It was indeed a peerless treasure. When used in conjunction with a formation, its effects were obvious. If he directly used it to attack, it would be an ordinary high-grade magic item. After resting for a few days, he began to search for treasures again. He had not been to most of the profound caverns, so no one knew how many treasures there were. It was a pity that the demons suppressing the treasures could not be burned or absorbed into the profound yellow caverns. If Su Fong could become a small commander, the overall strength of the profound yellow caverns would increase. In the following period of time, he only obtained some ordinary magic treasures and some divine abilities that he did not fancy. He did not obtain any special magic treasures. More than a month had passed, and half of the 100-year trial had passed. Su Fong was somewhat anxious. He wanted to use the remaining time to obtain more magic treasures. Whoosh! Su Fong seemed to have reached the bottom of the profound caverns. Just as he flew through the spiritual mist, he suddenly saw wind blades constantly sweeping out from below. He also saw a few longevity experts forcibly flying into the wind blades. Greenfeather King introduced, below is the profound cavern's eye. This king has sensed this place many times before. It is the core of the profound caverns. There should be quite a few treasures hidden below. The profound cavern's eye. It seemed the profound caverns were not without end. They were 30,000 meters deep, and there were countless formations and spaces that formed a complex underground space. After hesitating for a moment, Long Chun stared at the wind blades. If he wanted treasures, he would have to enter the profound cavern's eye. In the end, he decided to take a look. Even if he couldn't obtain any treasures, he still wanted to experience the profound cavern's eye. Dao Wuliang is also down there. A wind blade flashed past Su Fong. It felt like several of his hairs had been severed. Green Feather King had told Su Fong that Dao Wuliang's aura was currently being released from the profound cavern's eye. It seemed it really was Dao Wuliang. That old fox feared nothing. With his methods, he had definitely obtained quite a few treasures this time. After brushing past a large number of wind blades, Long Chun entered a deeper space. The number of wind blades suddenly decreased, and a space with layers of restrictions, as well as a large amount of gems, spirit stones, and an underground forest appeared in front of him. This was not an illusion, but a real forest. He could smell the fragrance of the forest. Only longevity experts could come here. The layers of wind blades made it so that ordinary longevity experts couldn't come here. Once he entered the forest, it was like there was only a forest. There were many precious spirit herbs and high-grade spirit stones. However, they were all in the form of spirit stones. It seemed the spirit stones had long since been taken by the disciples who had come here. This underground forest had also been split into many parts by the barrier. His perception was unable to sense the surrounding space, so he could only search for treasures one by one. However, the forest Su Fong had entered had long since run out of treasures. There were traces left behind by experts fighting everywhere. After entering several layers of space, the space he was in now had layers of formations. It seemed this place was not ordinary. After a while, he heard the sounds of battle. 2 more layers of the barrier. The sounds of battle were deafening. He also heard someone shout, "I heard that there are only a dozen high-grade enchanted items in this 100-year trial, as well as 3 divine images, Qian Huanyun, Xing Xiao, and Li Lingman. Only one of the 4 of us has obtained the divine image in this space. Let's see who can enter the depths of the formation." "Yin Shi, the divine image isn't mine, but it's also not yours," roared another man furiously. The sounds of battle once more rang out in front of him. "Qian Huanyun, what a coincidence!" Su Fong was surprised to encounter Qian Huanyun in this profound cave eye. Ever since the start of the trial, Su Fong had only met her for a brief moment. He had sensed that she was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. She wasn't as crafty as the other disciples. A divine image? That's incredible. I have to find a chance. Long Chun hid his aura and slowly entered the depths. Chi waves surged in this space, and there were several corpses of longevity disciples floating around. Their empty pouches had disappeared, leaving behind only their tokens. Not only had they died here, but they had also been robbed of all their belongings. An opening suddenly appeared in the mystic light formed by the battle of magical powers in front of them, tearing the array formation apart. While the man and woman were fighting, they continued to approach the inner part of the array formation. In another formation, Su Fong saw the masked Qian Huanyun and another man repeatedly exchange blows. They were evenly matched. Seizing this opportunity, Su Fong stealthily advanced. He flew past the 4 experts' astral chi and entered another formation. As soon as he entered, he saw 5 huge demons floating in the depths of the formation. Chapter 148. 5 Big Goblins. Before he could see them clearly, the 5 big goblins seemed to retreat. The space they were in transformed into a huge hole that looked like an eye. The sudden change in the formation made Su Fong feel even more threatened. He could see a few big goblins in the spinning space. They were waiting for the disciples to enter. "Those are monster corpses," shouted Green Feather King furiously. "These are monster corpses that were killed by the Immortal Sealing Gates experts. The weakest were in the immortal realm, while the majority were in the undying or undying realms. After being killed, the Immortal Sealing Gate dug out their innards and refined into monster corpses like puppets. The Immortal Sealing Gate controlled them and turned them into weapons. The monster race and humans had an unresolvable blood feud. From this demonic corpse, one could see the stance of the celestial sealing sect towards the demonic beasts. It was no wonder they wanted to suppress Green Feather King for 10,000 years. If Green Feather King hadn't escaped, wouldn't the Celestial Sealing sect have killed him, drained his innards, and turned him into a demonic corpse? Green Feather King didn't have 10,000 reasons to destroy the immortal sealing gate. These monster corpses are extremely powerful. They've been refined repeatedly by the immortal sealing gate's experts. They don't have any life. Be careful. Stepping on the cold frost sword, Su Fong was determined to enter and seize the divine image. Swoosh! He leaped in and entered the eye of the profound cavern. In an instant, countless wind blades swept out along with the spinning formation world. Clang! In the time it took for sparks to fly off a piece of flint, the frost sword was swung out. The sword chi scattered the wind blades that could not be dodged. Su Fong practically unleashed the most powerful peak strength at this time. Although he was Heavenly Union Realm Level 3, his strength reached peak Heavenly Union Realm, about the same as powerhouses who had just stepped in a longevity realm. Su Fong's spiritual energy was abundant. With a magical weapon in his hand and the profound magic ring secretly assisting him, he activated the magic power in his divine aperture. Su Fong struck out with sword rays, invincible. Swoosh! Suddenly, a monster corpse attacked. It really didn't have any life. Its body was just a skeleton. It only had eyes but no eyeballs. Traces of blood and tears could be seen around its eyes. It seemed this big goblin had watched the immortal sealing gate's experts cut open its stomach and take its innards before losing its life. Pung! The demonic corpse did not use any divine ability. Instead, it used the strength of its own body to raise its long arms. Like a bent tree branch, it suddenly rebounded towards Su Fong. The cold frost sword collided with the demonic corpse's long arm. As a result, Su Fong was forced to retreat several steps, causing him to lose the feeling of his arms. The big goblin's body was very strong. Great heavenly sword chi. The demonic corpse pounced again. Su Fong wasn't going to be polite this time. His divine aperture trembled, and his magic power circulated. His dark magic ring was also activated. When the big goblin attacked, a sword chi that seemed to be born in space was about a foot long. Like sword chi, it was fast and violent, wrapping the demonic corpse in the air. Chi, the grand heavenly sword chi, was indeed worthy of being one of the 7 great techniques of the immortal sealing gate's 7 great heavenly grotto heavens. It was so powerful that it tore apart the demon corpse's fur and sent its flesh and blood flying everywhere. Su Fong decisively passed by the demonic corpse and continued toward the eye of the storm. Swish, swish. Suddenly, a man and woman flew over from behind. The man was at the front. When he saw the grand heavenly sword chi trap the demonic corpse, and then he saw Su Fong, he was shocked. When did the Ice Moon Dojo have a disciple who can cultivate the grand heavenly sword chi to such a level? What a pity, he's just a heavenly union disciple. It's you. Chen Huanyan followed closely behind. She recognized Su Fong at a glance. With her cultivation base, she would definitely have some impression of him if she had only seen him once or if he was a disciple from the same dojo. This man from the Witherwood Dojo was only 30 years old. He wore green robes and looked very heroic. He sneered, "You think a heavenly union disciple like you can obtain a divine image? Don't think you can obtain everything just because you have a good grasp of divine abilities. Without strength, without cultivation base, what are you? Hurry up and scram. Those who block my path won't even know how they died." Chen Huanyun cried out, "Yin Qi, you dare to kill him? With his potential, the sect will definitely focus on nurturing him. You'll definitely be punished for killing him." Yin Qi was actually worried. However, he then said, "It's fine if I don't kill him. I'll just shatter his cultivation base, shatter his meridians, or shatter his golden core, so that he won't be able to cultivate. So, what if he has potential? He'll still be trash. I don't think I've offended you." It was as if he had become a piece of meat waiting to be slaughtered. "Anyone who has designs on a divine image is my enemy." Yin Qi smiled coldly and gave a reason that didn't seem like a reason. Then the countless disciples participating in this trial were all Yin Qi's enemies. Qian Huanyan sped up. She clearly wanted to protect a disciple from the same dojo. Dodge. Swish. Swish. However, what Qian Huanyan didn't expect was that Su Fong actually activated his Daluo Sky Sword Qi, causing countless sword lights to explode around Yin Qi. Yin Qi would never have dreamed that a grand, peerless genius like him would be ignored by a Heavenly Union disciple. You're dead. Qian Huanyan was also stunned. Was this something a Heavenly Union disciple should do? He was undoubtedly seeking his own death. She couldn't understand what ability Su Fong had to fight with Yin Qi. Wu. Yin Qi used his Xian Guang to scatter the Daluo Sky Sword Qi. Although the Daluo Sky Sword Qi was extraordinary, his realm was too high, so it was naturally easy for him to shatter it. He then sent out another ray of Sword Qi, wanting to cut Su Fong in half. What he didn't expect was that Su Fong actually spat out a large amount of smoke from his left palm. The smoke was highly toxic, and it turned into a poisonous smoke that collided with the Sword Qi. Although the Sword Qi almost split the smoke apart, the powerful poison of the smoke also corroded the Sword Qi's power, making it powerless. Yin Qi was shocked. His speed was suddenly affected. Qian Huanyan took advantage of this opportunity to finally catch up. She had also seen Su Fong's ability to control the smoke, but she didn't have time to be shocked. She immediately sent out a cold light to push Yin Qi away. Let's go. Qian Huanyan looked at Su Fong with a sharp gaze. She could take advantage of this opportunity to enter the depths of the profound cave eye. But if she left Su Fong behind, could she truly block Yin Qi? Su Fong used her frost sword to chase after Qian Huanyan. Qian Huanyan, you're carrying a burden. How can you obtain the divine image? Only then did Yin Qi struggle out of the profound cave eye. When he was in the air, he couldn't see Qian Huanyan and Su Fong. He clenched his teeth in anger. At this moment, a man and woman flew over from behind him. They should be the two experts from before. Swish! Yin Qi was extremely nervous. He immediately flew deeper into the cave. Yin Qi, weren't you arrogant? In the end, Qian Huanyan took the initiative. The man behind him laughed complacently as he chased after Yin Qi. Hua hua hua. After traveling a certain distance, over a dozen corpses charged over. Damn it! The corpses in front of him were blocking his path, while the experts behind him were chasing after him. Yin Qi was infuriated, and he used his enchanted treasure to block the corpses' attacks. Haha, Yin Qi, you're also anxious. But don't worry. The place where the divine image is suppressed should be the 1,000-layer formation. It's easy to enter, but difficult to leave. Even if Qian Huanyan obtained the treasure, we'll still have plenty of chances. The man and woman behind him chased after him. After saying that, they each charged at the corpses. At this moment, in the deeper layer of the formation, over a dozen corpses were chasing after Qian Huanyan and Su Fong. No matter how fast the two of them were, they couldn't shake off the corpses. Qian Huanyan wasn't nervous, but he was worried about the corpses. These corpses were refined specifically for the 1,000-layer formation. If we want to obtain the divine image, we'll have to destroy them. Su Fong's gaze was resolute. Senior apprentice sister, let's get the divine image first. Fine. Once we obtain the divine image, we'll fight the corpses. I wonder how many powerful corpses there are in the 1,000-layer formation. Qian Huanyan was surprised that Su Fong's train of thought was so clear. Her goal was to obtain the divine image. Whoosh! They didn't know what kind of formation they had entered, but suddenly, a corpse jumped out in front of them. It seemed that the two of them had charged out the instant they had touched the formation. They opened their mouths and spat out a large amount of flames at the two of them. Even without Qian Huanyan's help, Su Fong dodged in time. Qian Huanyan released a cold light and faced the corpse head-on. Su Fong finally saw the peerless power of an immortal-level expert. This is one of the 7 divine abilities, the Azure Sky Frost Mysterious Technique. This woman is on the human ranking list, and her cultivation should be at the last stage of the immortal level. After this 100-year trial, she'll definitely become an immortal-level existence. Let's go. Qian Huanyin used the Azure Sky Frost Mysterious technique to freeze the corpses. This was one of the top 10 experts of the 7 great dojos. After entering another formation, Qian Huanyin began to release his aura and immediately locked onto the right side. He led Su Fong through layers of formations. Along the way, many corpses woke up. We can't get rid of these corpses. As long as we enter the 1,000-layer formation, they'll be able to find us and kill us. Then we can't leave. Then let's talk with strength and methods. Without strength, only death awaits. Those who can come here are either at Immortality Realm Level 10, Immortality Realm Level 7, Level 8, or Level 9. They all want to have a fortuitous encounter and reach the Undying Realm as soon as possible so that they can go to Immortal Heaven to cultivate. Senior Sister, if you obtain the Divine Image, you'll also reach the Immortal Realm. Yes, didn't you take the risk to come here for the Divine Image as well? Aren't you going to fight with me? What do I have to fight with you? I'm just a little smart. I don't have any cultivation base. I don't have any strength. And I can't even compare to Yin Qi in terms of looks. You're making it sound like you're useless. Qian Huanyin smiled. It was like ice had melted, turning her into the most beautiful ice flower in the world. After passing through for a while, Qian Huanyin immediately locked onto the center of the formation and brought Su Fong in. As expected, he saw a treasure box floating in the center of the formation. Around the treasure box, there were dozens of corpses that had yet to awaken. It seemed that their auras were connected to the treasure box. Once the treasure box moved, the corpses would also awaken. Without hesitation, Qian Huanyin and Su Fong gradually approached the treasure box. Just a second before they were about to snatch the treasure box, Qian Huanyin looked at Su Fong and said, "There will soon be a large number of corpses surrounding us. Once you have the chance, leave this place." "Senior Sister, it won't be easy for you to leave, right?" asked Su Fong. "Of course it won't be easy, but I can endure until the end of the trial. Once it's over, the formation will naturally stop. If I have the chance, I'll leave." Buzz. After Su Fong nodded, Qian Huanyin finally grabbed the treasure box. She took out one of the talismans. It seemed that the divine image was sealed within the talisman. Once it had the divine image, it would be able to surpass most cultivators. This was Qian Huanyin's fortuitous opportunity. Woo, woo, woo. The corpses around the formation suddenly began to move. They didn't have any eyeballs, and even if they did, they would have already dried up. It was as if they had eyes, and they instantly locked onto the two of them. Do your best to stay behind. Don't carelessly attack. These corpses are even more powerful. Qian Huanyin put away the talisman and took out her frost sword, protecting Su Fong as they retreated. He was not too worried about the large number of corpses in the surroundings, as Qian Huanyin was not a cultivator from the other dojos. At the very least, he would not attack the disciples of the same dojos. Although the world of cultivators is full of schemes and schemes, some people still remain independent. Qian Huanyin was such an extraordinary woman. The first impression that Qian Huanyin gave others was that she must have a thorough understanding of the laws of this world, since she was able to reach the peak of the immortal level. However, she did not choose to live like most people and insisted on her own cultivation path. 2 days later, suddenly, a shocking force burst out from Su Fong's body. After this force burst out, Qian Huanyin was also affected. Why is his aura so shocking when he only broke through to the 4th level of the Heavenly Union realm? Qian Huanyin was shocked. At this time, a total of 4 layers of Su Fong's force appeared. He had successfully stepped into the 4th level of the Heavenly Union realm. In order to seize the time, Su Fong activated the 100 acupoints finger technique again and forcefully controlled the power of his fleshly body to attack his meridians, flesh, and divine apertures. Ziz. Just as his overall strength was transforming, a stream of air suddenly came from near his dantian. The sound of friction and collision was heard. At this moment, he felt the 9-yang true qi in his dantian crazily rush into his meridians. Immediately checking, Su Fong laughed crazily. It's done. The first Yang Meridian is finally formed. I didn't expect that I would succeed in forming the Yang Meridian by just breaking through to the fourth level of the Heavenly Union realm. This was an unexpected gain. Su Fong examined his meridians again. From inside to outside, they were filled with pure Yang energy. Furthermore, Su Fong didn't need to condense the 9 Yang true Qi in his body. All of it automatically flowed into the Yang Meridian. The Yang Meridian was jade white in color, completely different from the other blood color meridians. It was connected to the Dantian and connected to all of the meridians in his body. At this time, the 9 Yang true Qi in his body seemed to be centered around the Yang Meridian. It was like a world of energy that could breathe. Soon, the Yang Meridian was filled with energy. This is great. My gold core, the spirit meridian in my right arm, and the Yang Meridian have formed 3 major worlds of energy. Su Fong felt like his entire body was on fire. He had finally succeeded in forming the Yang Meridian. At long last, he could officially cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations. With this godly class energy art as the main energy art, all of his other divine abilities would be secondary. He has such strong, pure Yang energy. That means his fleshly body is extraordinary. Even Qian Huanyun could sense the difference in the Yang Meridian, and his eyes filled with curiosity and suspicion. Unfortunately, he still couldn't see through Su Fong's fleshly body. All he could do was draw on the Jade Heaven Frigid Profound art to keep the demon corpses at bay. Su Fong drew on the power of his profound magic ring and his divine aperture. At the same time, he consumed several pure vitality pills, as well as other spirit-type items. All of the spirit energy in the spell formation began to flow towards Su Fong. Qian Huanyun could sense the changes and hurriedly tried to stop him. Your fleshly body is incredible. I've never seen a fleshly body like yours. Don't absorb any more power from the thousand-fold formation. If the central formation is weakened, Yin Qi, Xing Qiu, Li Ling Man, and the others will have a much easier time getting here. Those 3 are all on the ranking list of young masters. They're the top 10 experts from the Immortal Heaven sect. The ranking list of young masters. So Yin Qi and the others were on the ranking list of young masters. Thinking of the ranking list of young masters, Su Fong's eyes narrowed. Senior sister, I'd like to ask you about someone. Zhao Wuji, who just appeared on the ranking list of young masters. What's his background? Qian Huanyun didn't ask why Su Fong was so concerned about Zhao Wuji. He continued, he joined the sect during the upheaval. I heard that he came back with some legendary experts and was recommended by those experts. I heard that he has something to do with Yuan Tianzong. Yuan Tianzong is a legend in the Celestial Sealing sect. He used to be the first on the heaven ranking. Now, his cultivation has reached the eternal realm, and his name has spread across the Crimson Heaven continent. Even the other continents know his name. Zhao Wuji was chosen by Yuan Tianzong for some reason. Although he's cultivating in a temporary training ground, he's still an official disciple. Not long after he joined the sect, he challenged the 10th person on the mortal ranking and won. Now, he's a well-known figure among the Immortality Realm disciples. It must be the state of Zhao's Zhao Wuji, said Su Fong. But he was filled with questions. Zhao Wuji had only been in the Celestial Sealing sect for a few years. How had he managed to break through to the peak of the Immortality Realm? Could it be that he was already in the Immortality Realm? Had he reached the Immortality Realm after cultivating for 3,000 years in the state of Zhao? But that didn't explain it. When he fought Su Yao Tian in the state of Zhao, let alone the Immortality Realm, even a peak Heavenly Unity Realm cultivator would have been able to kill Su Yao Tian. Could it be that he had reached the Immortality Realm in just a few years? That was too shocking. Green Feather King continued. Although I don't know much about Zhao Wuji, and I'm not interested in learning more about him, I still occasionally heard people say that this junior apprentice brother Zhao Wuji seems to have offered up a supreme treasure to the sect. That's why no one is willing to offend him. Offering a supreme treasure? Although it sounded groundless and unreal, it was very likely that this was the reason. Otherwise, how could he have been chosen by the celestial sealing sect? And although the state of Zhao's territory was insignificant, Su Fong could obtain the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Could it be that Zhao Wuji, who had lived for 3,000 years, couldn't obtain a supreme treasure? Thank you, senior apprentice sister. I'll activate the smoke now. After a while, Su Fong suddenly appeared beside Qianhuanyan. He activated the flaming cloud spirit gourd, and smoke that even immortality realm experts feared immediately came out of his palm. This smoke was highly toxic and would corrode matter, and demon corpses were material. When they came into contact with the smoke, they were corroded. Demon corpses were divine weapons, so they didn't feel pain or fear. They forcefully charged through the smoke. With Su Fong's strength, he was still unable to fight against these big goblins. Qianhuanyan didn't expect Su Fong to be able to fight against so many big goblin alone with his 4th stage Heaven Fusion realm cultivation. If these were immortality realm experts, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Su Fong. Qianhuanyan activated the Jade Sky, cold mysterious art, and began to cooperate with Su Fong. Su Fong controlled the smoke to block the demon corpses while Qianhuanyan attacked them directly. Soon, a demon corpse was destroyed. It was already a miracle that the two of them were able to remain unharmed in this array formation. Qianhuanyan. At this moment, a man barged into the center of the array formation. He looked a little miserable. It wasn't Yin Qi. Qianhuanyan only knew that he was an expert from the Qingqing dojo. Qianhuanyan's expression tensed up. He could deal with the demon corpses because they didn't have thoughts. But that man was different. Xing Qiu, didn't you see that there are so many demon corpses? You still want to snatch the divine image? The divine image has already been taken by me. Xing Qiu was different from Yin Qi. He didn't look arrogant and was good at enduring. Qianhuanyan, you rarely make enemies with us. I didn't expect that you would make us look at you in a new light this time. The divine image still fell into your hands. After saying that, Xing Qiu turned and left. However, no one knew if he really left or if he was hiding outside, waiting for Qianhuanyan to come out so that he could snatch the divine image. The experts on the ranking list of young masters are all amazing. They can still come and go freely in this 1,000 layers array and surrounded by demon corpses. Su Fong remembered this expert named Xing Qiu. Everyone who reaches the peak of the immortality realm is very powerful. This is a difficult realm to cross. Once you cross it and become an undying realm expert, you're truly powerful. Qianhuanyan continued to activate the Jade Sky, cold mysterious art. He asked curiously, recently, I've often heard that an amazing Heaven Fusion realm disciple has appeared in my Ice Moon dojo. The person they're talking about is you, right? Su Fong played dumb. I don't have that kind of ability, but I did think of someone. I met a white-robed man before. He came from the Heaven and Earth dojo, but he actually ignored the precious treasures. His cultivation base is unfathomable. I reckon he's even a bit stronger than you, senior apprentice sister. The Heaven and Earth dojo doesn't care about treasures. Qianhuanyan raised an eyebrow and suddenly thought of something. You're talking about Yin Fuxin? Yin Fuxin, he really is a heaven-sent genius. He's also a different person. Although he's at the peak of the immortality realm, his strength has already reached the undying realm. He's a powerful expert who transcends realms. He doesn't participate in the ranking list of young masters, nor does he participate in any other disputes. Very few people in the 7 Dao dojos know about him. But for us disciples, even if he doesn't participate in the ranking list of young masters, we can still sense his strength. Since he doesn't care about treasures, why did he come to the profound cave? There's no cultivator in the world who doesn't care about treasures. And for Yin Fuxin, it's very likely that he's a gentleman who loves money and obtains it in a proper way. A gentleman. Was there really such a person in the cultivation world? Chapter 150. Are you done yet? A few more days passed. Qianhuanyan and Su Fong worked together, But even Qian Huanyan seemed unable to withstand the attacks of dozens of demonic corpses. Su Fong felt that it was a good idea to continue waiting. Since they couldn't break out, they could just wait here. Perhaps experts like Yin Shi and Xing Xiu were waiting outside. However, to Qian Huanyun, if they continued waiting, it would mean that they wouldn't be able to obtain any other treasures in the Mystic Cave. Glazed cloud silk. Qian Huanyun still chose to fight for an opportunity. Suddenly, a ray of colorful light shot out from her right palm. It looked like a glazed ribbon. It wasn't a Xian Guang, but a Dharma artifact. It was a high-grade Dharma artifact, and its quality was similar to the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. Break! Qian Huanyan gestured to Su Fong and activated the glazed cloud silk. This Dharma artifact was very magical. It looked like a colorful scarf. Suddenly, it rolled like water silk and formed a space. Qian Huanyan brought Su Fong into the space. The glazed cloud silk kept rolling forward, protecting the two of them as they gradually left the central formation. The demonic corpses were no longer controlled by the smoke, and they all pounced on them. This time, Qian Huanyan was very confident. The demonic corpses' various attacks couldn't even shake the glazed cloud silk. It seemed that this Dharma artifact was Qian Huanyan's strongest weapon. A high-grade Dharma artifact was very powerful, and the demonic corpses couldn't deal with it. However, even though the demonic corpses couldn't deal with the glazed cloud silk, they were still consuming Qian Huanyan's energy. Her forehead and neck were covered in cold sweat, and her breathing was getting faster and faster. Fortunately, after shaking off most of the demonic corpses, the glazed cloud silk's speed became faster and faster. It seemed that the two of them would be able to get rid of the demonic corpses soon. After entering another layer of the formation, the demonic corpses behind them chased after them. However, to their surprise, a huge golden claw grabbed at the glazed cloud silk from above. Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. Qian Huanyun was furious. Yin Qi. Boom! The Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw was one of the 7 divine powers. It was cast by an expert at the peak of immortal level, and its power was unparalleled. The glazed cloud silk slowed down, and Qian Huanyun, who was controlling the Dharma treasure, had blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Qian Huanyun was protected by a magic treasure, so he wasn't in any danger. However, he was still injured. Yin Qi, you're an expert on the human ranking list. How could you be so despicable? I've already taken the divine image, and you still want to take it from me. Yin Qi jumped out from the side and blocked his path. There are only 3 divine images in this 100-year trial, and there are 10 people on the mortal ranking list. It's destined that only 3 people will be able to obtain a divine image. I won't be able to obtain the other 2, so I naturally won't let you off. Qian Huanyun was at a loss for words. The other party was right. Anyone could snatch a magic treasure, so why couldn't Yin Qi snatch her spirit image? Yin Qi suddenly retreated and continued to use the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw to prevent the glazed cloud silk from flying away. Haha, Qian Huanyun and that damn brat behind you. Even more corpses are coming. Let's see how long you can last. Whoosh! 30 corpses were chasing after them, and there were still a few corpses in the surroundings. Yin Qi actually planned to use them to deal with Qian Huanyun. Senior apprentice sister, I'll keep the corpses busy. You deal with Yin Qi. Su Fong suddenly took a step forward and waved her left hand. The remaining portion of the flame cloud spirit gourd's smoke instantly poured out of her palm. Only now did Qian Huanyun realize that she wasn't the only one who could protect the divine image. Only with Su Fong could she obtain the divine image. Careful! Qian Huanyun urged the glazed cloud silk to spin faster. Qian Huanyun suddenly rose into the air and sent out icy sword qi at Yin Qi. Yin Qi used the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw to suppress the icy sword qi. He was in a much better state than Qian Huanyun. If this continued, it was very likely that he would seriously injure Qian Huanyun and snatch the divine image. As for killing Qian Huanyun, Yin Qi didn't dare. Both Su Fong and Qian Huanyun were in danger. Indecisiveness will only lead to chaos. In this kind of situation, how could the weak have the right to choose? Only geniuses like Yin Qi and Xing Qiu, peerless experts on the mortal ranking, had the right to make a choice and reverse the situation. But today, in front of these two experts, Su Fong had to make a choice that would benefit both him and Qian Huanyun. At least for Qian Huanyun, this choice was enough for her to hold onto the divine image. Su Fong controlled the smoke to form a defensive barrier. Su Fong controlled the smoke to fly in a different direction, allowing the corpses to surround him. But he insisted on drawing them away. Junior apprentice brother, come back. Qian Huanyun didn't know why Su Fong would do something so stupid. How could he handle so many corpses alone? If he left Qian Huanyun, Su Fong would definitely die. Senior apprentice sister, you have to deal with Yin Qi and take care of me at the same time. I don't want to be a burden to you. I'll leave first. Stubborn. Su Fong, who had refused an expert's blessing to repair his meridians, hadn't changed. Whatever he wanted to do, he would do it without hesitation. Today, he had to draw the corpses away by himself, so Qian Huanyun could use her full strength to fight Yin Qi. The two of them had the same cultivation base, so neither of them could do anything to the other. But if this dragged on, both Qian Huanyun and Su Fong would be in danger. Junior apprentice sister, I didn't expect you to be so captivating. That brat is willing to die for you. Yin Qi gnashed his teeth hatefully at Su Fong. Qian Huanyun took a few steps back. Don't shoot your mouth off. I don't even know his name, and he doesn't care about my beauty. We're fellow disciples, so how can you say that? It's not that senior apprentice brother wants to scold you, but what's so good about that brat? He doesn't have any talent, nor does he have any strength. Why don't you just find me as your Tao companion? Tao companion Yin Qi. Don't you often go to the Immortal Twin sect? The female disciples, they're all outstanding beauties. Don't insult me here. If I were that kind of woman, I'd have long since left the Immortal Sealing sect. Look at how quickly the Immortal Twin sect has developed these past few years. It's all because of men like you who voluntarily provide yang qi to those female cultivators. Since you insist on being my enemy, even if I can't deal with you today, you have to be careful in the future. If you end up in my hands, I'll definitely turn you into my cultivation tool. Shameless. Despicable. The Qian Huanyun cloud's frigid qi surged, and with the help of the jade, heavenly cold profound art, the surrounding space began to freeze. Deep within the formation. We're almost out of smoke. Su Fong was being chased by the corpses, and the spiritual qi within the flame cloud spirit gourd was growing thinner and thinner. If this continued, how was he supposed to fight the corpses? Even at this point, Su Fong still gritted his teeth and persevered. He flew out of the array formation. The smoke was constantly being dispersed by the demon corpses. There were several times when the smoke almost passed through and hit Su Fong's body. Brat, since there's no one around, use your green fiend true flame to burn these corpses. Once the true flame comes out, these corpses won't be a match for you. Green fiend, true flame, the flame cloud spirit gourd's true power was something even undying experts couldn't control. It was a true divine ability of the Immortal Sealing sect. Su Fong was excited. He also wanted to see how powerful the green fiend true flame was. But he was worried there might be other cultivators nearby, so he did his best to use the last bit of smoke to get as far away as possible. After flying through several formations, Su Fong managed to shake off some of the corpses. However, more corpses sensed the disturbance and began to surround him. Within this 1,000-layered formation, once you lost your divine image, a large number of corpses would appear. It would be very difficult to escape. Xing Qiu and Yin Qi might have seemed relaxed, but they had taken a huge risk to come here and steal the divine image. Once they were trapped, not everyone could be like Qian Huanyun, who could resist a large number of corpses for a long time. I don't hear any breathing. Using his perfect hearing, Su Fong finally made up his mind to unleash the green fiend primordial fire in this formation just as the smoke was about to disappear. Flame cloud, spirit gourd. Su Fong sped up, leaving behind a final layer of smoke. A portion of the corpses chased after him. He turned, and a gourd appeared in his left hand. Just as the corpses were about to crush him, a burst of green flames shot out of the gourd. The green flames weren't shocking. They were like a green wind that blew past several corpses. Whoosh! A few demonic corpses that pounced over were instantly engulfed by the green fiery, primordial fire. Their skin, fur, and bodies were all burned to ashes by the primordial fire. Such powerful corpses were existences that even longevity experts would have a headache over. However, in front of the green fiend true flame, they were like paper. They were easily incinerated. Su Fong was dumbfounded. The green fiend true flame was 10,000 times stronger than the smoke. Suddenly, Green Feather King shouted, "Hurry up and leave." If someone recognizes the green fiend true flame, then the Immortal Sealing Gates experts will definitely find the secret to controlling it from you. Whoosh! If someone discovered it, then his appearance, identity, and treasures would no longer be a secret. He would most likely be killed. After flying through several formations, he continued toward a region where he could hear no one. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, Su Fong finally flew out of this forest and arrived in the middle of the profound cave eye. When he looked around, he saw that each of these forests was actually an independent space. Furthermore, the formations were too powerful. The fighting inside couldn't be sensed from the outside. Qian Huanyan should be fine. Thinking of that, Su Fong calculated the time. There were less than 10 days left. It would be difficult for him to obtain any treasures in this amount of time. Furthermore, taking this risk for treasures wasn't worth it. It was stupid. He immediately flew toward the exit of the profound cave eye, dodging the wind blades. He had almost died to the wind blades, but he still hadn't completely left the profound cave eye. Swish, swish, swish. Hiding in a cave, he had just dodged a wave of wind blades when several figures suddenly flew toward him. From the way they were dressed, they were all disciples of the same Tao sect. Myriad Tao Paradise. When the wind blades swept past, Su Fong was just about to fly out of the cave. The Myriad Tao Paradise's disciples also happened to be flying over. When they saw Su Fong, they directly ignored him. However, Su Fong's heart suddenly thumped and his body stiffened. That was because he saw a young man in the middle. It was as if he had met a great enemy. Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji. The Zhao Empire's ancestral emperor had once killed the family Su's ancestor. He had even stolen the family Su's peerless spirit vein. Furthermore, during the battle in the Zhao Empire, Su Fong had seen Zhao Wuji's puppet. He naturally knew what Zhao Wuji looked like. He had never imagined that he would brush past Zhao Wuji here. Although they were both disciples of the Celestial Sealing sect, they were just passers-by. Turning around, Zhao Wuji was surrounded by several longevity disciples. He was a newly promoted disciple, but he had received the approval of these disciples. He was like the emperor of the past who had unified the world. Xin Huang suddenly said, "Master, Zhao Wuji only has a tiny bit of violet qi law spirit aura." Impossible. Su Fong finally recovered. He had been blinded by hatred. Fortunately, Xin Huang still knew to sense whether or not Zhao Wuji had a treasure spirit vein. That was the violet qi law spirit. Chapter 151. Zhao Wuji. But why didn't he have a violet qi law spirit? Hadn't he killed Su Yunxian 3,000 years ago and obtained a portion of his violet qi law spirit? At this distance, Su Fong couldn't sense the aura of Zhao Wuji's magic treasure. But Qian Wang was different. He was a primordial spirit, a king-grade enchanted item. If he couldn't sense the violet qi law spirit, that meant the spirit vein was no longer in his body. But that didn't make sense. Qian Wang was very certain. Master, Zhao Wuji's body does have the aura of a spirit vein, but it's just a very small amount. The spirit vein isn't in his body. Then where did he take the spirit vein? Qian Wang is certain the spirit vein is in the Immortal Sealing sect. Did he give it to some powerful person? Really? Su Fong trembled. He thought of all the rumors about Zhao Wuji entering the Immortal Sealing sect, as well as how he had followed the Immortal Sealing sect from the state of Zhao to the Crimson Firmament continent. Suddenly, a thought appeared in his mind. Could it be that he gave the violet chi law spirit to the immortal sealing sect to become a disciple? The more he thought about it, the more uneasy he felt. If that really was the case, then once the violet chi law spirit fell into the hands of the upper echelons of the immortal sealing sect, how was he supposed to take it back? This king thinks the third portion of the spirit vein must be in the immortal sealing sect. King Greenfeather also spoke his thoughts. That Zhao Wuji is an immortal realm expert, and there's some kind of power left in his body. In other words, he'll be able to quickly break through to the undying realm. He might even be able to reach the undying realm. For the immortal sealing sect to place such importance on him and treat him as a peerless disciple with a desolate body, there's only one possibility. Zhao Wuji must have given a peerless treasure to the immortal sealing sect. That's the immortal sealing sect's reward. A magical treasure spirit vein is something that can only be chanced upon, not sought, especially in a minor world. This king has lived for more than 10,000 years, but he, true Fox Mother, and Celestial Drill Rat Emperor have never seen a magical treasure spirit vein before. If a peerless expert from the immortal sealing sect obtains a spirit vein, they can cultivate a soul-bound magical treasure and increase the sect's overall strength. That's why Zhao Wuji has done a great service to the sect. When Su Fong heard that, he was infuriated. He even felt that he was incompetent. That damned Zhao Wuji. He gave my family Su's treasure to the immortal sealing sect. Not only did he give you a chance to cultivate in the immortal sealing sect, he even helped you become an expert. But how am I supposed to find that expert with a spirit vein? How am I supposed to take it back? Shouted King Greenfeather. Bring out your viciousness. Your enemy was chosen by the immortal sealing sect, so why don't you work hard? You'll also be groomed by the immortal sealing sect. You'll become a peerless expert, and then you'll have everything you want. Junior will do his best. Don't even think about eating my things for free. No matter how much you eat, you'll have to pay me back double. Since he had encountered Zhao Wuji, Su Fong took advantage of this chance to learn more about him. In any case, Zhao Wuji didn't know his identity. Taking advantage of this chance, Su Fong brushed past a wind blade and chased after it. He immediately caught up to several disciples from the Myriad Dao Grotto. Zhao Wuji was among them. Not only were there disciples from the Myriad Dao Grotto, but there were also several experts from other grotto heavens. They were all dodging wind blades. When Su Fong arrived, he didn't make a sound. He just waited on the side. With his fourth heavenly level cultivation, although he was just an ant, some people could tell that he wasn't a simple disciple. Suddenly, another expert took the initiative to introduce himself to Zhao Wuji. You must be Zhao Wuji, junior apprentice brother Zhao. Congratulations on obtaining a peerless treasure. Congratulations, congratulations. I was just lucky and had the help of many senior apprentice brothers. That's how I was able to obtain a treasure. With several Myriad Dao Grotto experts on the side, a new disciple like Zhao Wuji openly admitted it. When he said that, Su Fong could see that quite a few people had different expressions. If there weren't several Myriad Dao Grotto disciples here, perhaps there would have been people who would have attacked Zhao Wuji on the spot. At the end of the trial, it was still uncertain who would be the master of the treasure. There's a problem with that Ice Moon Taoist disciple. Some people's attention fell on Su Fong. As expected, quite a few longevity experts from other grotto heavens all looked at Su Fong. In an instant, they all understood why Su Fong had a problem. A heavenly level disciple was actually able to return safely from the profound cave eye. That explained everything. Junior apprentice brother, I'm also a disciple of the Ice Moon Taoist Hall, Song Changshan. Suddenly, a longevity expert walked over. Looking at his clothes, he was also a disciple of the Ice Moon Taoist Hall. But he wasn't under Yin Caifeng's control. Junior apprentice brother, which sect are you cultivating under? Song Changshan. It seemed that when the elders gave him his name, they had hoped that he would become a longevity expert. Now, he really had such results. Seeing quite a few people staring at him with strange gazes, Su Fong also felt that if there were experts from other grotto heavens here, They might be able to use him as a temporary protective talisman after getting to know each other. He bowed generously. Fong Yu greets Senior Apprentice Brother Song. I'm cultivating under Sect Master Yin. So it's Sect Master Yin. Song Changsheng came over warmly and transmitted his voice to Su Fong. Junior Apprentice Brother Fong, let's leave this place. I think these people want to harm you. Why? Su Fong replied. Song Changsheng kindly reminded him. Recently, I heard that a very capable heavenly-level disciple appeared in our grotto and obtained quite a few treasures. They suspect that it's you. Su Fong was about to speak when Green Feather King's disdainful laughter appeared in his mind. TCH, what do you mean by others wanting to harm you? You say you're a good person. Kid, this guy is actually more vicious than anyone else. He wants to harm you. Senior, thank you for your reminder. I also thought of this. This Song Changsheng publicly pretends to be a good person, but in reality, he has ulterior motives. Su Fong was no longer the insignificant person who cultivated in Tianmen province. After communicating with Green Feather King, he still replied to Song Changsheng. I'm not that person. However, Senior Apprentice Brother Song is willing to leave this place with me. I'm flattered. I'm leaving now. Song Changsheng frowned. Su Fong flew up with him. It was a little weaker, but it was still a terrifying space of wind blades. The swordsman is also an expert among the immortal level. He might be very familiar with this Song Changsheng. He secretly sized up Song Changsheng as if he was sizing up a piece of fat meat. This kid called Fong, you might be the heavenly level disciple that everyone is talking about. Su Fong suddenly heard voices. It was not very loud, but he was a great perfection realm expert and could hear it clearly. He looked down and saw that there were actually many immortal level experts who were risking their lives to follow them. Song Changsheng naturally also noticed this and urged Su Fong to hurry up. Clearly, he was getting more and more anxious. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh at this moment. A few more layers of wind blades swept past. Song Changsheng had no choice but to protect Su Fong behind him. He was worried that Su Fong would be swept into the wind blades, and his treasure would also disappear. Bang! What Song Changsheng and the experts below did not expect was that a huge force exploded behind Song Changsheng, pushing Song Changsheng above a layer of wind blades that was not very shocking. Song Changsheng was not prepared and was hit by Su Fong from behind. His whole body was shaken and he lost his balance. He was extremely angry. You don't think that I don't know that you want to steal my treasure. Song Changsheng, you were the one who wanted to harm me first. I was also forced to do so. If you want to take revenge, I'll be waiting for you anytime. Under the attention of many people, Su Fongda shouted and ignored Song Changsheng. He immediately stepped on the frost sword and braved the great danger, flying up to the sky beside the wind blades. It must be this Fong Yu who made many immortal-level experts suffer great losses. He's the god of wealth. The 100-year trials would inevitably give birth to many new people, and Su Fong was one of them. The experts below were very surprised that Su Fong would attack Song Changsheng. Now, they were even more certain that Su Fong was the heaven fusion disciple that many people were talking about. They all chased after him. Chi! Above the wind blade layer, the pitiful Song Changsheng was struck by a wind blade. His left arm just happened to be facing a large wind blade. In the end, it was cut off by the wind blade. His left arm fell into the wind blade and was instantly turned into mush. Miserable. It was too horrible to look at. Song Changsheng fled in panic. Many wounds appeared on his body. Fortunately, it was just an ordinary wind blade. If it was a large storm, then he would have already been turned into meat paste. It seemed that Su Fong did not want to take his life. Su Fong had always been like this. But now, Song Changsheng was grimacing in hatred. It seemed that he, who had lost his left arm, would not forget today's humiliation. The mysterious cave eye was about to appear. Whoosh! Su Fong stepped on the cold frost sword. There were many wounds on his body. They were all cut open by the wind blade's aura. Fortunately, his body was protected by the flesh fetus divine armor. Otherwise, he would have been heavily injured. Looking below, there were quite a few longevity realm experts chasing after him. Their situation was much better. Some were wearing armor, some were releasing the power of magic treasures. Only a few were accidentally injured by the wind blades. Su Fong had no choice but to flee for his life. The people below had already treated him as prey. If he did not flee, then before the trial ended, he would most likely die. The death of a longevity realm genius was a big matter. But if a heaven fusion disciple died in the mysterious cave, then so be it. The sect might not care about it, but he had to cherish himself. Flying out of the mysterious cave eye, there were quite a few longevity realm and heaven fusion realm experts resting in the space above. It seemed that they were planning on entering the mysterious cave eye or leaving the mysterious cave eye. A heaven fusion disciple from the Ice Moon Dojo is actually being chased by so many longevity realm experts. Who knows what that brat did to offend so many people? And our dojo's senior brothers. A heaven fusion disciple from the Ice Moon Dojo? Could that brat be the heaven fusion disciple that everyone is talking about? The one who obtained quite a few treasures. There were over 1,000 disciples resting here. They were the truly capable people participating in this trial. They felt that a group of longevity realm experts chasing after a heaven fusion realm disciple did not conform to common sense. Some people suddenly pointed out the reason why Su Fong was being chased. For a moment, many people's eyes lit up. Swish, swish, dozens of people directly flew towards Su Fong. That's a god of wealth. Even more disciples could not sit still. If there were longevity realm experts chasing after him, then a heaven fusion realm disciple would definitely have treasures that even longevity realm experts would care about. If one person thought so, then a group of people would think so. If one person chased, then another group would chase. In an instant, hundreds of people joined the chase. The remaining people were still hesitating. Some did not know the whole story. Are you guys not letting me live? Having just escaped from the mysterious cave eye, he did not expect that there would be hundreds of experts above him. It was like a huge net was falling down on him. Su Fong repeatedly complained. Ignoring the wounds on his body, he quickly flew towards the mysterious cave that was releasing a large number of wind blades. He could only use the mysterious cave's natural barrier to block the longevity realm experts. In his mind, the Green Feather King's figure appeared again. Brat, you have to hold on. There are still a few more days before the trial ends. When it ends, the Rainbow Soul Absorbing Bell, the Profound Law Ring, that Jade Pendant, and a large number of treasures you obtain will be yours. Chapter 152. The trial isn't over yet. He had never wished for time to fly by so quickly. He felt like every day was a year. Looking back, although he could not see anyone, with his perfect hearing, he could hear a few immortal-level powerhouses chasing after him. There were only a few days left until the end of the 100-year trial. During these days, Su Fong was constantly being chased. Swoosh! Passing through layers of mist, he entered another Xian cave. After a few breaths, more than 10 immortal-level powerhouses flew towards Su Fong from all directions. They surrounded Su Fong and forced him to retreat. Green Feather King was very impatient. He really didn't like the feeling of being chased. Kid, you have to think of a way to reverse the situation. If you keep running like this, you'll run into trouble sooner or later. Su Fong was also troubled. He immediately urged his intelligence. Away, away, Green Feather King said. This king has lived for nearly 20,000 years. He has encountered many powerful enemies and experienced many battles. But he doesn't always use his strength to resolve a situation. Most of the time, he uses his brain and various methods to maximize his advantages. He uses his strong points to counter the enemy's weak points. Got it. Suddenly, a light flashed in front of Su Fong's eyes. At this moment, he was trying his best to fly forward in the air. His left hand grabbed a streak of 7-colored mystic light. Rainbow Soul Absorbing Bell, could it be? Green Feather King seemed to know what Su Fong was doing. As Su Fong flew, he used his blood to fuse with the Rainbow Soul Absorbing Bell. He did his best to fuse with it. At the same time, if he encountered something he didn't understand, he would ask Green Feather King for advice. After flying for an entire day, not only did he fuse with the Rainbow Soul-absorbing bell, but he could also use a portion of its power. At this time, Su Fong entered a Xian cave space. When he arrived, he found that the treasures here had already been taken by someone else. This formation space isn't bad. Hurry up and set up the formation, shouted Green Feather King. After passing through a few layers of space, he arrived at the center of the formation. He continuously formed hand seals, and through the spirit runes, he absorbed the energy and aura of the seven-colored soul-sucking bell to form runes. Rune talismans were a type of Tao. For example, teleportation talismans were a type of rune talismans. To master the rune talisman, one would need to cultivate and comprehend it for a lifetime. Once one became a rune talisman master, one would be omnipotent and could go anywhere. In just one day, he not only had to learn how to draw basic rune talismans, but he also had to learn how to set up simple formations. Fortunately, there was an old antique like Green Feather King, so he was able to grasp the basics of setting up formations and drawing talismans in one day. Buzz! Dozens of runes flew to the surrounding array and merged with the existing enchantment. As he made a hand seal, the runes in the enchantment began to disappear. Then, he injected a stream of spiritual energy into the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell. The bell buzzed and swayed, and a faint tinkling sound came from the bell. Aside from the strange sound of the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell, there were also some seven-colored Xianguang that were attracted to this space. As for Su Fong, he was the only one who could see what was inside the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell. Within the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell space, there were a large number of formations. These formations were all illusions created by supreme experts. Once these illusions were activated, it was equivalent to the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell releasing the power of illusions. The strange thing was that when Su Fong controlled one of the illusions, he imagined it to be a forest. Inside the formation, a forest actually formed. Su Fong found it hard to believe. He thought it was an illusion. Then he tried activating another formation, imagining a lake. As a result, the illusion inside the formation turned into a lake without a shore. When he imagined there were schools of fish in the lake, there were schools of fish. When he imagined there were anglers in the surroundings, there were several white-haired old men fishing leisurely. A profound divine ability and a high-grade magic weapon were too terrifying. No wonder the damaged Xianhuang's Six Paths Pagoda could suppress a big shot like the Green Feather King. In just a dozen breaths, Su Fong used the surrounding formation space to set up the formation. Although it was not perfect, it was not a problem for it to hold back immortal-level experts. Su Fong had been activating the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell all this time. Many of the restrictions and illusions inside were operating. Su Fong could see the soul-absorbing bell's aura constantly fusing into the barrier. The barrier was the defensive existence of this space. Whatever the barrier was, the space would bear the same power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. That kid is in this formation space. I don't know which formation he's hiding in. Let's work together to capture Fong Yu and then split the treasures. Let's go take a look at the formation in front. We can't let the others find him first. The three immortal-level experts arrived outside the formation. After a short discussion, the three of them did not hesitate to enter the formation. This formation is different. There are so many storms. It's not simple. Could it be that this formation has not been discovered yet? There's still treasures sealed here. Then we're in luck. The three of them greedily avoided the storms and entered the forest from time to time. In fact, there were no storms or forests. In Su Fong's eyes, the three of them were sleepwalking. At first, he could still distinguish, but after a while, the three of them had lost all sense of judgment. Someone else came in, controlling the seven-colored soul-absorbing bell. He used his perfect vision and hearing to control the entire central formation. He thought that only 3 disciples were trapped, but he heard the sound of wind breaking. This time, there were only 2 disciples, but from other directions, 3 more disciples came in. There were a total of 5 immortal level experts. In addition to the 3 from before, it was equivalent to 8 people entering the formation created by Su Fong. The first thing the immortal level disciples thought when they entered was that there were treasures in the formation. How could they calm down? Their minds were filled with greed. It was easier for them to fall into the illusion and be controlled by the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. Whoosh! Su Fong continued to activate the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. Unfortunately, the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell did not have a primordial spirit. Otherwise, this magic treasure would be useless. As the illusion was activated by Su Fong, he could cooperate with the power of the illusion and silently go to any corner of the illusion. Disciples of Withered Dojo. He came to the front of the 3 immortal level experts who were swaying. After confirming that the 3 of them were in the illusion, he immediately activated the 100 acupoints finger technique and sealed all their meridians, dantian, and divine apertures. Coupled with the power of the illusion, the 3 of them fell asleep immediately. They could not activate their spiritual power, magic power, or the spiritual power in their bodies. Coupled with being in the illusion, the 3 of them could not regain their consciousness unless someone came to wake them up. 3 empty bags. Su Fong's purpose was not to subdue the 3 of them. It was for their empty bags. Since the 3 of them wanted to deal with him, why should he let them go? He did not kill or injure them. He only wanted the treasures. After taking the 3 empty bags, Su Fong once again approached the other 5 experts. For the time being, he was not in the mood to check the empty bags. According to common sense, as an immortal level expert of the immortal sealing sect, he would naturally have countless magical treasures. In the end, in a short while, the empty bags carried by the other 5 great disciples all became Su Fong's. Once the 8 disciples woke up and regained their consciousness, they would be angered to death by the thought of not only failing to seize the treasures, but also having all their treasures taken away. Su Fong did not seize the opportunity to seize their golden cores. He was already being merciful. If he had fallen into the hands of these experts, it would not have been as simple as seizing the treasures. He would have been killed to silence them. With the illusion formation here, I will cultivate here until the end of the trial. If I leave now, I will be chased day and night. Returning to the center of the formation, he sat down cross-legged next to the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. He immediately absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy without affecting the operation of the environment. He first focused on the Yang Meridian. Once the Yang Meridian was formed, he would officially begin to cultivate a godly class energy art. The 9 Yang 9 transformations was a consummate godly class energy art. Although Su Fong wasn't sure of its true origin, the fact that it came from the primeval chaos age was enough to prove that it was a consummate energy art. The 7 great divine abilities of the immortal sealing sect couldn't even compare. The Yang Meridian was filled with 9 Yang true energy. Most of the Yang energy Su Fong cultivated automatically flowed into the Yang Meridian, where it was stimulated by the first level of the 9 Yang 9 transformations. Instantly, the Yang Meridian began to churn like a boundless ocean. At the same time, Su Fong also felt the primordial chaos sage hum in his dantian from time to time due to his cultivation of the Yang Meridian. He attempted to absorb the primordial chaos sage into his Yang Meridian, but the primordial chaos sage seemed to be revived. When the Yang energy within the Yang Meridian stirred, the primeval chaos sage began to rumble. I heard from Elder Brother that the Heaven Fusion disciple from the Ice Moon Taoist right entered the formation. 2 more days passed, and the end of the 100-year trial was just around the corner. In the end, Su Fong heard voices again. Stopping his cultivation, he heard the sound of wind breaking, and a few more people were following him. Right now, many people are looking for that kid. We have to grab this last chance. Once the trial ends, we can't attack him again. Even if we find him, it'll be useless. This person is called Fong Yu. He's at the 4th level of Heaven Fusion. He looks very ordinary. He's not tall and looks extremely ordinary. Someone was describing Su Fong's situation. Su Fong sent his consciousness into the profound yellow space. Many thanks, Senior Peng King. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to resolve this calamity. It also depends on who the opponent is. If it were someone else, even if this king taught him, it wouldn't be of any use. The Green Feather King praised. Even so, Su Fong still thanked him several times. Su Fong began to move once more. What are you doing? Hunting. No matter what kind of person you were, as long as you didn't have a desolate physique like Yin Fu Xin, even if you weren't bewitched, you would still be trapped in this illusion. He found 7 disciples. These 7 people came from different sects, but now they all had the same result. All their treasures had been plundered by Su Fong. Adding on the 8 empty bags he had obtained before, Su Fong now had 15 empty bags. He hadn't expected that the 100-year trial would make him so rich. The 7 of them were subdued by Su Fong in the same way. Then they began to wait again. As a result, no one else came in. There's still half a day left. I should leave this place first. Otherwise, once the trial ends and all the formations here disappear, these 15 people will wake up. They still don't know it's me. If they know, it'll be even more troublesome in the future. There was still half a day left before the trial ended. Su Fong grabbed the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell and slowly absorbed it into his body. Then, while the illusion was slowly disappearing, Su Fong stepped on the frost sword and flew out of the array. I'm free. Half a day will pass in the blink of an eye. The instant he left the formation, he flew towards a large space. Whoosh! At this time, several figures suddenly appeared in front of him. These figures were unimaginably fast. They were peak longevity realm experts. Oh no, it's Yin Shi. Su Fong wanted to sneak past them, but when he looked carefully, he saw that one of them was a peerless expert from the Withered Tree Dao, right? Yin Shi. Chapter 153. Yin Shi was one of the top 10 experts on the human list. His strength was undeniable. It seemed that he had not taken the divine image from Qian Huanyin's hands. He looks familiar. Yin Shi, who was among the experts from the Withered Wood Dojo, suddenly glanced at Su Fong, who was trying to get away with it. With his level of cultivation, as long as he had seen someone, he would never forget them. However, it seemed that he did not know Su Fong's identity. With some surprise, he and the other experts almost brushed past Su Fong. That was close. It seemed that Yin Shi did not notice him. How could a genius like him casually pay attention to other cultivators? Only a genius of the same level could attract his attention. Whoosh! He was waiting for them to walk away, and then he quickly left on his sword. Suddenly, an incomparably powerful gust of wind swept over from behind. This gust of wind seemed to have a suction force. It turned into a huge claw and sucked Su Fong back. Under such a sudden attack and astonishing strength, Su Fong did not have a chance to react. Bang! Su Fong, who was frantically retreating with the suction force of the claw, was suddenly hit by a huge force from behind. This huge force directly swept through his golden core. Flesh fetus divine armor. Su Fong knew that it was Yin Shi. Yin Shi already knew him, but pretended not to know him and had already launched a sneak attack on him. Unfortunately, the flesh fetus divine armor could not stop Yin Shi's strength, which was at the peak of the longevity realm. The huge force swept into his dantian and hit Su Fong's golden core, which he had cultivated with great difficulty. Xian Wang don't. The aura of a magic treasure surged out of his right arm. The original spirit of Xian Huang, Six Paths Pagoda, wanted to protect Su Fong. However, it was stopped by Su Fong. This was because once Xian Huang exploded, Green Feather King's aura would be instantly detected in the Immortal Sealing sect. Gotcha! Without Xuan Huang's protection, Green Feather King could not make a move. Su Fong heard the crisp sound of his Jin Dan shattering, like an egg falling to the ground. Flesh fetus divine armor also couldn't stop his divine power. Yin Chi sighed in astonishment. Flesh fetus divine armor. It's the flesh fetus divine armor. You are a Heaven Union realm expert. How can you condense the flesh fetus divine armor? However, Your flesh fetus divine armor can at most withstand an expert at the 5th level of longevity life. I am at the peak of the 10th level of longevity life. Puff broke and Jindan at the same time. Su Fong also spat out a lot of blood from the shock. He stopped retreating and swayed in the air powerlessly. His lower abdomen burst out with an astonishing amount of yang qi and pure spiritual power. An immortal-level powerhouse stared coldly at Su Fong, who was in pain and helplessness, and said, "Senior Brother Yin, how many pure yuan pills did this person consume?" His body is filled with yang qi. Even if there aren't 10,000, there should be at least 8,000. He must have obtained a large amount of pure yuan qi in the Xian cave. Yin Qi was also shocked by the yang energy. That person continued, "Rumor has it that this Fong Yu obtained quite a few treasures from immortal-level experts. As expected, it's true. It's a pity that the pure yuan pills were consumed by this trash." Yin Qi walked step by step towards Su Fong. "Stinking brat, your Jindan is already broken. I already said that if you oppose me, only death awaits you. Right now, everyone is looking for you, treating you as their god of wealth. Do you really wish that the trial would end so that I wouldn't be able to kill you? But I just have to kill you at the last moment. I can only hide inside the flaming cloud spirit gourd and then activate it to escape into the depths of the Xian cave." He couldn't activate the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda. He originally wanted to protect himself, but he couldn't even protect his Jindan. If he had known that this would be the outcome, he definitely wouldn't have just waited for death and used the Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd. The Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd was a shocking treasure. Once he entered its space and had the protection of the green, fiendish true flame, even Yin Qi wouldn't be able to kill him. Ice Divine Image. A beautiful figure suddenly broke through the air. Ziz. A large amount of cold air came from the magic power of the Jade Sky, cold mystic technique. With Su Fong as the center, the surrounding space instantly turned into a world of ice. Ice. There was only cold air in this Xian cave, and it was already frozen. The most shocked person was Yin Qi. With his strength at the peak of the longevity realm, he was actually shackled by the cold air and almost turned into an ice man. The other longevity realm experts in the Witheredwood Dojo had already been frozen. A longevity realm expert at the peak of the longevity realm couldn't move under someone else's divine ability. The person who used the divine ability was definitely more powerful than Yin Qi. Yin Qi activated his energy and wanted to shatter the ice. His face was full of disbelief. "Qian Huanyun, you actually merged with the divine image in such a short time and stepped into the undying realm from the longevity realm. Senior Sister Yin." The flaming cloud spirit gourd almost flew out of his body. Who knew that the cold air would completely freeze this space? What kind of divine ability was this? It wasn't the longevity realm. It was the undying realm. Qian Huanyun. From Yin Qi's exclamation, he knew that she had merged with the divine image before she stepped into the undying realm. Breakthroughs were like this. Once a bottleneck was crossed, a breakthrough could be made at any time. Fong Yu, your golden core. A piece of ice and snow attack. It wasn't Qian Huanyun, but Qian Huanyun's voice came from the ice and snow. When the ice and snow froze, it transformed into Qian Huanyun. Seeing that Su Fong was in pain and his golden core was exhausted, Qian Huanyun became dignified and angry. She grabbed at the side. Swoosh! Swoosh! Yin Qi and the 4 longevity realm experts from the Witheredwood Dojo were caught by Qian Huanyun like ants. Qian Huanyun stared at Su Fong. "Yin Qi, I owe you a favor, and I'll return it to you now. Kill Yin Qi if you want to. I'll bear the consequences." Yin Qi laughed. "Junior sister, let's talk nicely. How can you say such things out of anger? You and I are both geniuses on the ranking list of young masters, the future elites of the sect. If you want to deal with me like this, the sect won't let you go. Why do we have to suffer for a heavenly fusion realm, Aunt?" "Senior sister, I can really make the decision," Su Fong spoke first. "Yes, I, Qian Huanyun, am a man of my word." Qian Huanyun nodded. Su Fong stared at Yin Qi, burning with anger. His golden core had been destroyed by this person, but he restrained his emotions. I don't want Yin Qi's life. Oh, Qian Huanyun was stunned. Even Yin Qi and the others found it strange. First, I don't want to put senior sister in danger. Second, I'll take revenge myself. In the future, I'll definitely make Yin Qi pay for this blood debt, but I can't let him go just like that. What do you want to do? I want to. Su Fong was a little hesitant. Divine image space or jade sky cold mysterious art? Could it be that Qian Huanyun has advanced to the undying realm? A few voices suddenly came from outside the ice space. Qian Huanyun ignored them. Ignore them. Su Fong's gaze was resolute. Senior sister, I've thought it through. I want the empty bags that Yin Qi and the other four are carrying. If they don't give it to me, I'll take their lives now. Fong Yu, how dare you? When Yin Qi heard that Su Fong wanted his empty bags, he was naturally unwilling. He glared at Su Fong furiously, as if he wanted to skin Su Fong alive. When Qian Huanyun saw Su Fong's determined gaze, she suddenly felt that this heaven fusion stage for disciple in front of her had an indescribable spirit and depth. If it were anyone else, their mind would be filled with thoughts of how to kill their enemies under such circumstances. They definitely wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. However, Su Fong was considerate of her and had thought far ahead. He didn't go against the flow and chose a method that was beneficial to him and also had a way out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Qian Huanyun waved her hand, and the empty bags from the 5 immortality stage experts of the Withered Wood Dojo all flew towards Su Fong. Su Fong didn't stand on ceremony and sucked them all into the bags. Qian Huanyun. Yin Qi hated Qian Huanyun 10 times more than Su Fong. No matter what, Su Fong was only a heaven fusion stage cultivator, and his golden core was already shattered. He would be a cripple for the rest of his life. However, in front of so many fellow disciples and those experts outside the divine image space who were watching the show, his Dharma treasure actually benefited a heaven fusion stage disciple. This made him feel even more ashamed than killing him. It was undoubtedly a slap in the face. If you have a grudge, take revenge. If you have anything, come at me. Yin Qi, even if you don't look for me, I will look for you. I also know that you won't let me go. Your empty bags are in my hands. If you have the ability, come to Frozen Moon Cave Abode and take them. This matter had nothing to do with Qian Huanyun. Instead, it was she who saved his life. How could Su Fong let his benefactor bear this hatred? He was a man, so he had to take responsibility. Su Fong added fuel to the fire. You still think you're a genius on the mortal rankings? There are so many people watching, and you still want to attack a woman in the future? You're a man. If you really have the ability, then take back your empty bags from me. I know you don't have that ability. Otherwise, in this 100-year trial, you wouldn't have obtained a divine image, but senior apprentice sister obtained one and advanced to the undying realm. It looks like I owe him another favor. For Su Fong to say such words in this kind of situation, Qian Huanyun clearly understood that this weak man was trying to provoke Yin Qi into diverting his hatred away from her. All of the grudges were focused on Su Fong. Brother Yin, you're still an expert on the mortal rankings. It looks like the mortal rankings will be reshuffled in this 100-year trial. Congratulations to senior apprentice sister Qian Huanyun for reaching the undying realm and entering the high immortal heaven. Outside the divine image space, there were at least a few dozen strong cultivators. It was as if everyone was watching how Yin Qi was humiliated. Today, he had been defeated. He had been defeated by Su Fong and Qian Huanyun. Buzz. At this moment, every disciple's medallion buzzed intensely. Someone cried out, "The trial is over." In an instant, the formation around the divine image space disappeared. Qian Huanyun made a grabbing motion, and all the ice was sucked into his palm. He then released a Xianguang that turned into a defensive barrier to protect Su Fong. Cough. Yin Qi and the others also regained their freedom. They were burning with anger and killing intent. Yin Qi was stopped by the other experts. The trial was over. If they fought now, it would be considered killing each other. The Celestial Sealing sect forbade them from killing each other, especially in front of so many people. Furthermore, Those experts also knew that Yin Qi would only be humiliating himself if he went up. He would be suppressed by Qian Huanyun, who had advanced to the undying realm. Giving up, Yin Qi and a few other experts left in a hypocritical manner. There had been over 100 longevity realm experts from different sections. They were unhappy that such a good show had ended just like that. The spiritual fog in the Xian cave space had completely dissipated. They could see the Xian sect's formation, and a large number of disciples were flying toward it. Qian Huanyun dragged Su Fong toward the Xian sect. Seeing Su Fong's disappointed and powerless appearance, he comforted, "Your golden core is broken. As long as you don't forcefully circulate your qi, you won't be injured. With your outstanding physical body, you still have at least 300 years of life." 300 years of life. Su Fong snorted disdainfully. He didn't let Qian Huanyun appear. He poured his consciousness into the profound yellow space. "Senior Peng King, my golden core is broken." The Green Feather King interrupted. "This king knows what you want to say, but I'm sorry. Your golden core is broken. Even this king can't do anything about it. Only the legendary immortals have the ability to reconstruct a golden body and graft a golden core. No other mortal can do this." Chapter 154. Green Feather King knew what Su Fong was thinking. Thoughts. What was the most important thing to a cultivator? The golden core. Longevity depended on the golden core. Immortality depended on the golden core. Immortality depended on the golden core. Without the golden core, there would be no longevity, immortality, or indestructibility. He would be reduced to a mortal, bound by the shackles of the fate wheel. If there is no immortal, then there is no immortal. Immortals are a supreme legend. Su Fong was extremely disappointed. Perhaps his confidence in facing Yin Qi was just a lie to himself. Even Green Feather King couldn't do anything. Who else in this small world could help him? Green Feather King sighed again. "But it's very strange. Your golden core shattered, and your spiritual energy instantly disappeared. But in the space of your right arm's spirit vein, as well as a meridian near your dantian that contains yang energy, there is still shocking energy at the 4th level of Heaven Union. This king has never seen such a thing before. Profound Gate, we're about to leave." Qian Huanyun, who was protecting Su Fong, reminded him. Looking up, it was indeed the familiar Profound Cave's Profound Gate. Countless disciples entered it. The 100-year trial was over. He had obtained a treasure, but lost his golden core. Was fate playing tricks on him, or was he reaping what he sowed? With his cultivation, he normally didn't need to participate in the 100-year trial, but he insisted on signing up. In the end, he used a treasure to exchange for a golden core. Even if he had a treasure, it was meaningless. A mortal guarding a treasure was useless. He passed through the profound Gate. In front of him was a familiar cloud vortex. Some forests and mountains floated in the sky. That kid, some of the hundreds of thousands of experts participating in the trial had already left, while others were waiting for their disciples. Some people were talking about Su Fong. With a glance, he saw Heaven and Earth Grotto Heaven's Mu Jing and Withered Grotto Heaven's Li Zhengyang. Not only these people, but when he followed Qian Huanyun to Frozen Moon Grotto Heaven's large group of disciples, Su Fong saw riding the sword. There was also Song Changsheng, who had lost an arm. They were all eyeing Su Fong covetously, treating him as an enemy. And most people found that Su Fong's situation was not right. After carefully sensing Su Fong's body, they found out that his golden core had been shattered by Yin Qi. For a time, it caused many people to discuss. Qian Huanyun retracted the protective barrier around the Su Fong and transmitted, "I can only send you this far. From now on, you can choose your own path. If you choose to stay in the Celestial Sealing Sect, come find me if you have any difficulties. If you choose to leave, find a good place to live out the remaining few hundred years of your life peacefully." Sometimes, being an ordinary person is quite good. Whoosh! As he watched Qian Huanyun disappear, Su Fong felt that the Celestial Sealing Sect was a place he had never felt before. It was Yin Qi who destroyed your golden core. A familiar voice rang out furiously. Dao Wuliang, this guy looked like he wanted to eat someone. He came to Su Fang's side and immediately released his aura to protect her. Yin Qi from Witheredwood Dojo. I didn't expect that. Don't even think about revenge. Yin Qi is an expert at the peak of the Saint Origin stage. He's also one of the top 10 experts on the human list. He's an elite that the Celestial Sealing sect wants to nurture. We could die 10,000 times, but Yin Qi can't die even once. He knew all too well that Dao did not have a benevolent character. He did not wish to look for Yin Qi because of this. I didn't expect this Fang Yu to be in the limelight during the 100-year trials. What's the point of being in the limelight? Now everyone knows that his golden core has been destroyed. But he has a lot of treasures on him. I heard that Yin Qi, a genius on the human list, has taken all his treasures. Among the disciples of the Frozen Moon Grotto, a woman was controlling the situation. She was Yin Kaifeng. She was in charge of hundreds of disciples, but they were all staring at Su Fang and Dao Wuliang, especially Su Fang, who hadn't received their attention before. But it was different now. Su Fang's name had shaken the 100-year trials. Who didn't know that Frozen Moon Grotto had a heavenly fusion realm disciple who had stolen the limelight of many Saint Origin stage experts? With such a reputation, even if Su Fang's golden core had been destroyed, these ordinary disciples didn't dare to look down on Su Fang anymore. Junior brother Song. Not far away, a handsome man came to Song Chongqing's side and looked at his missing arm. He couldn't help but shake his head. Your arm. That brat Fang Yu really doesn't know what's good for him. If I were you, I'd definitely take advantage of the best time to crush him and steal his treasures. Sword Rider, the one who came to Song Chongqing's side, was Sword Rider. He was also an expert who had conflicts with Su Fang. They were from the same dojo, but he had offended so many experts. Even if Su Fang stayed in the Celestial Sealing sect, he wouldn't have a good time. Not to mention, he had enemies from other dojos. In this 100-year trials, Su Fang had offended all 7 major dojos. Dao Wuliang protected Su Fang and coldly glanced at the surrounding disciples. It seemed that he had also made a name for himself in this 100-year trials. Some of the Immortality Realm experts didn't dare to look him in the eye. The 100-year trials have ended. Everyone returned to the dojo. Yin Kaifeng majestically used her primordial spirit to pass down the order. Hundreds of disciples left the Frozen Moon Dojo's camp together. Frozen Moon Dojo in a mountain range. Yin Kaifeng didn't hold any gatherings. She let everyone return to the dojo to have a good rest. She left the rest to Zheng Daoxin. Fang Yu, I heard that your golden core was destroyed by senior brother Yin. What do you plan to do from now on? Dao Wuliang escorted Su Fang to the cave abode. After a while, Zheng Daoxin rushed over. Su Fang immediately replied, I will continue to stay in the sect. In my condition, I can't leave the sect alive. I will inform the sect master of your choice. Since your golden core is destroyed, it's best that you don't go out. I heard that because of you, Song Chongqing lost an arm. Senior brother, here are 1,000 pure essence pills. I will have to trouble you in the future. We are all from the same sect. This is also the sect master's wish. I will take my leave. Zheng Daoxin took the pure essence pills and immediately left the cave abode. He went to the floating green mountain at the top of the dojo. When he entered the green mountain, he appeared in a large hall. He bowed to Yin Kaifeng, who was sitting at the top. Master, all the senior and junior brothers in the dojo have started to cultivate in seclusion. Give them some time. When their strength increases, we will go out to train. How? Is that disciple called Fang Yu? Yin Kaifeng suddenly looked at Su Fang. I just found out that this Fang Yu is related to the Gu King Valley. And this time, he caused a lot of trouble during the trial. Naturally, it will affect our dojo. Junior brother Fang's golden core is destroyed, but his mental state is not bad. Pay more attention to this person. Yin Kaifeng waved his hand. Zheng Daoxin turned and left the hall. This trial ended perfectly. The sect took out the 3 divine images and many treasures to nurture the true elite disciples of the immortal realm. Qian Huanyun has also reached the undying realm. but the sect wants me to find someone who can use the green fiend true fire. It is easier said than done. The green fiend true fire is most likely an immortal realm genius who accidentally used it in the Xian cavern. Who can control the green fiend true fire at the immortal realm? Even I am only at the cultivation stage. After muttering to himself for a while, Yin Kaifeng disappeared from the hall. Inside the cave abode at the foot of the mountain. The two caves were next to each other. On the left was Dao Wuliang's, and on the right was Su Feng's. A few days later, Su Feng was still sitting cross-legged. Without a golden core, he was very disappointed. The divine aperture in his mind still existed, and he still had magic power. But without a golden core, there was no spiritual power in his body. He also couldn't condense the flesh embryo divine armor. During this time, he had chatted with King Greenfeather several times, but he still couldn't find an answer. Finally, he thought of the Origin Sage realm. After activating it, he sent his mind into it. The space inside the treasure was still red. He was still unable to move. He was imprisoned inside the treasure. "Senior," he called out, but he didn't get a response. He could only stay inside the treasure and call out again and again. Immortal he already knew an immortal. She was the mysterious female magnate in the other side of the mysterious ancient mirror. Su Feng had placed all his hopes on her. A full month passed. During the days when he couldn't cultivate, each day felt like a year. Fortunately, the familiar voice came without any warning. Su Feng was extremely disappointed. "Why are you looking for me? Could it be that your first young meridian has already been formed?" Su Fengdao was delighted. "Junior has successfully formed my first yang meridian. That's good. At least you didn't let down the 9 yang 9 transformations and the Origin Sage realm," said the mysterious woman. Su Feng bit his tongue, finding it hard to speak. But Junior's golden core was shattered. "From now on, I can't cultivate." A shattered golden core. The mysterious woman's tone was grave. She sank into silence. As for Su Feng, hearing her silence, he felt extremely uneasy. Every second that passed pushed him closer and closer to the abyss of eternal damnation. The golden core is the foundation of a cultivator. Meridians can be broken, divine apertures can be lost, and magic power can be lost. As long as the golden core exists, it can still absorb the essence of heaven and earth. Even if you can't cultivate it, longevity is not a problem. The mysterious woman's words didn't bring him any hope. Instead, it was a blow. Junior deserves it this time. I thought that the heavens and earth were vast, and I didn't need to fear anything. If I courageously pursued it, I would be able to obtain everything I imagined. But now you understand how cruel reality is. Yes, it is as cruel as you want it to be. In the past, I have thought about this question countless times. I have also met many powerhouses who spent their entire lives cultivating and suppressing this thought. Cultivators are supposed to fight against the heavens, fight against others, and fight against themselves. They go against the heavens and walk down a heaven-defying path. But from the moment we were born, this thought is deeply rooted in our hearts. That is the duty of a human. If it is mine, it is mine. If it is not mine, it is not mine. With such thoughts, mortals will always be mortals. They don't understand the importance of pursuit, but when you become a cultivator and fight against everything, you will realize that it is unrealistic to say that you can conquer the heavens. What is reality? It is still shackled by everything. Lifespan, magical treasures, realms, dreams, and many other aspects. This time, it was because you had dreams and pursuits that you ended up losing your golden core. But you're a cultivator with a perfect physical body. You have already defied the heavens and changed your fate. You have a different path of cultivation than others. Even now, you don't regret it. You are only hesitating because you lost your golden core and don't know what to do. This shows that your Tao heart is firm. Even if you lost your golden core, you did not regret it. Instead, you spent your energy blaming yourself. You came to find me this time because you wanted to obtain the method to help you recondense your golden core. Yes, that is what Senior meant. After Su Feng listened quietly, He felt as if he was grasping at a life-saving straw. The mysterious woman said, "You cannot condense your golden core on your own. Even if I have the method to condense your golden core, there must be a supreme powerhouse by your side to help you condense your golden core." Then, Su Fong was instantly dejected. "I cannot help you condense your golden core, but I can tell you that you can still cultivate because you are already a void dust." Chapter 155. At this moment, it was as if layers upon layers of light were blooming in Su Fong's mind, following the mysterious woman's words. Voida Su Fong was both shocked and delighted. At first, he was afraid of this unknown existence, but now he was filled with anticipation toward the void dust. What kind of existence could cultivate without a gold core? The mysterious woman continued, "There is no way you've heard of the void dust. Forget about you. Even most immortals don't know about the void dust. Kid, I'm all ears. The world is filled with all sorts of strange things. From ancient times until now, countless cultivators have been born. It is impossible for every cultivator to cultivate the same Taoist magic and walk the same path. There will always be people who walk different paths of cultivation. For example, if a cultivator like you suddenly loses his gold core, most people will die of depression. However, very few people will begin to ponder how to continue cultivation without a gold core. Countless heavenly geniuses pursue this path. There are even some madmen who, in order to find the answer, create a path of cultivation without a gold core. They strip their gold core from their bodies and begin to cultivate without a gold core. Most people fail. However, there are some people who, despite not having a gold core, can continue to increase their cultivation base. They can still use divine abilities and soar through the sky. Those who succeed leave behind a special existence. They are called void dust. They are willing to be a speck of dust in the world, a grain of sand in a sea of bitterness. They do not follow the flow of the sea of bitterness, but instead walk out of it and find a path to the other side of the great Tao. Now that you have lost your gold core, you have become one of the legendary void dust. You need to understand that not everyone without a gold core is a void dust. If that's the case, then all mortals who don't have a gold core are void dust. There are many requirements to become a void dust. In ancient times, no one knew about these requirements. Later on, countless cultivators who had lost their gold cores found out about them. There are two requirements to become a void dust. The first is a life treasure, and the second is an energy dimension. But your luck is too good. You have both of them. The first is your natal magical treasure. Your right arm has a magical treasure spirit vein space that is currently fusing with a king-grade magical item. You're destined to have a natal magical treasure. As for the second energy space, it's actually the first yang meridian that you've just condensed. Look inside your body. Your yang meridian still has a lot of 9 yang, true qi. That means you didn't lose all your energy when your golden core shattered. Then look inside your right arm. The spirit vein space still has a lot of energy. This is the true reason why the void dust is called a void dust. Most cultivators, once they form their gold core, will focus on cultivating their gold core for the rest of their lives. A small portion of cultivators will accidentally obtain a life-bound magic treasure. That way, they will be able to cultivate 2 different types of energy at the same time. Cultivators with life-bound magic treasures are also incomparably powerful. You will have a life-bound magic treasure, and your yang meridian will also be formed. Now, you will be a legendary void dust. Rumor has it that void dust are cultivators who have escaped the heavenly Taos and transcended reincarnation. From then on, your cultivation will be completely different from other cultivators. The mysterious woman's every word was very clear, as if she was exhorting him 1,000 times and exhorting him 1,000 times. She did not want Su Fong to miss a single word. So this was a void dust. At this moment, Su Fong's body was burning with an indescribable flame. A void dust. Once he thought about walking on an unusual path of cultivation, he was pleasantly surprised. He could not suppress his curiosity about the void dust. jumping out of the heavenly Tao and transcending reincarnation. What kind of scene was this? Ordinary cultivators would not be able to do it. Only a void dust could do it. As for how to cultivate, it depends on the person. With your current situation, you can start cultivating your yang meridian and life treasure. With your yang meridian and life treasure as your energy space, you will no longer be shackled in many aspects. However, you will still be shackled by the heavenly tribulation and the laws of cultivation. After all, your physical body is still at the heavenly fusion realm. When you approach the longevity realm, you will still be attacked by the heavenly tribulation. I will fuse my understanding of the void dust into your soul. You can slowly study it. I have never come into contact with this aspect. Everything will depend on you. Whether it is good or bad depends on your choice. The mysterious woman's voice disappeared, but Su Fong felt a chill in his mind. Then, many words began to dance in his mind. After leaving the primordial chaos sacred realm, Su Fong swallowed some pure essence pills to provide essence for his physical body. Then, he carefully studied the sea of true runes in his mind. Unknowingly, a year had passed. Where is Dao Wuliang? He had stayed in the cave for a long time. He had never come out to take a breather or look at the sky. Su Fong walked out of the cave, as usual. He wanted to chat with Dao Wuliang, but he found that Dao Wuliang was not in the cave. Thinking about it carefully, he had been studying the cultivation methods of the void dust realm. He did not notice where Dao Wuliang went. However, this guy should be back soon. After strolling in the forest for a while, he felt like he was reliving every second of his life. A year ago, he felt like he had fallen into hell. Now, he welcomed his ambition. After returning to the cave, buzz, buzz, shocking yang qi surged out from Su Fong's body. It seeped out from his skin, pores, and hair. Layer after layer, Su Fong released his energy. He found that his energy was still at the 4th level of the heavenly fusion realm. It was equivalent to his golden core being destroyed. There was still a large amount of energy in his body, which was why his cultivation level had not changed. It was because of the existence of the yang meridian. Without the yang qi in the yang meridian, it was impossible to achieve such a state with just the dharma treasure and spirit vein. Void dust realm cultivators did not have a golden core. Therefore, when cultivating again, the qi in his body had to change. From the meridians to the dantian, it would directly flow into the first yang meridian. Su Fong cultivated again and again. After a long time, he changed the qi in his body. At this time, his meridians and yang meridian formed a cycle. Spirit energy directly flowed from countless meridians into the yang meridian. Then it left the yang meridian and returned to the meridians. As for the dantian, it did not have much use. Its only use was to store large amounts of spirit energy, or as a storage space to store some ordinary dharma treasures. The origin sacred realm also emitted extreme cold qi. It fused with Su Fong's yang qi, immediately forming perfect yang qi. Su Fong wanted to increase his strength. He entered the profound yellow space and asked Green Feather King for the Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi Seed, the Green Fiendish True Fire Seed, and the Immortal Sealing Gates Origin. Green Feather King was puzzled when he saw Su Fong was lively again. Kid, how can you suddenly cultivate? I received pointers from Senior. Without a golden core, I can use my yang meridian and profound yellow space to replace the golden core. Even if you can cultivate and have a shocking amount of energy in your body, without a golden core, you won't have many laws to follow. You won't be able to control most of your cultivation. If you force yourself to cultivate, who knows if it will be beneficial to you? Even Green Feather King knew the problem Su Fong was facing. A golden core protected everything. Only with a golden core could one step into the heavenly fusion realm and reach the longevity realm. Finally, one could begin their undying and indestructible cultivation. Without a golden core, everything would disappear. How could one cultivate? I don't know my future, and others can't predict it either. I can only keep persevering. I can't exhaust everything in my body and live a few hundred years in vain. Furthermore, I have to restore my father's appearance. Without strength, how can I do that? Su Fong didn't explain too much. Even he wasn't sure. When Green Feather King heard this, he felt a chill run down his spine. Actually, it didn't affect him that much. He still had a few hundred years. He could hide in Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda for a few hundred years. When the immortal sealing gate's origin energy in his body dissolved, he could leave Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda and regain his freedom. It would be best if Su Fong could cultivate. But if he couldn't, even if he died, he could still escape from Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda's control. Even if he couldn't escape, he could still live in profound yellow space for the rest of his life. A large amount of sword chi, true flame, and origin energy seeds were all given to Su Fong. With this energy, Su Fong would soon reach Heavenly Fusion Stage 5. Outside the immortal sealing gate, in a distant forest. Dao Wuyang, don't play tricks. Do you really have a way to deal with Fong Yu, or trick him out of the immortal sealing gate and help me take back my bag and his treasures? Two figures descended from the sky and entered the forest. They were Yin Qi and Dao Wuyang. Dao Wuyang chuckled. Senior apprentice brother, no problem. I have the best relationship with Fong Yu. He offended so many people in the 100-year trials. I don't want to be implicated. Senior apprentice brother, you're about to reach the undying realm. I also want to back her. Yin Qi smiled proudly. You're smart. Not bad. I'm about to reach the undying realm soon. Once I reach the undying realm, I'll become a true elite disciple. I'll also become an undying expert in the future. What's your plan? It's very simple. Senior apprentice brother, prepare yourself here. I'll go back and instigate Fong Yu. He's hiding in Ice Moon Grotto every day, worried that someone will steal his treasures. I'm very confident that I can persuade him to leave the immortal sealing gate. When he comes here, Senior apprentice brother can kill him. But don't forget to give me a share of the treasures. If you can really trick Fong Yu out, there will definitely be benefits for you. This brat is a bastard who ate a scale and is determined to hide in the Ice Moon Dojo. Even if I become an undying realm expert, my status is still far from Yin Saifeng's. Just as Yin Qi was looking forward to it, he suddenly heard Dao Wuyang fart. Dao Wuyang embarrassedly clamped his legs together and raised his butt. Loud farts don't stink. Smelly farts don't make noise. Senior apprentice brother, don't blame me, don't blame me. It said that humans have 3 urges, and demons also have them. Demons, it really didn't seem to stink. Yin Qi slowly looked at Dao Wuyang and frowned. What demon? Go and trick Fong Yu out. You really have no class. Don't you know how to run far away and let out that smelly fart? Dao Wuyang smiled mischievously and deliberately got closer to Yin Qi. Smelly farts? You can't hold it in when you're anxious. Holding it in is bad for your stomach. Senior apprentice brother, don't blame me. If I say it doesn't stink, it doesn't stink. This is my innate ability. My heavenly bomb is my heavenly bomb. If farting is your ability, then you really are a bootlicker. I only know that those who can eat are rice buckets. But you're a bootlicker. Yin Qi waved his hand in front of him. Although it didn't stink, there was still a disgusting smell. And for some reason, he saw some stars in front of his eyes. He felt a bit dizzy, and his consciousness was a bit hazy. My fart is my innate ability. You should be on guard against my fart. It's colorless and odorless. It doesn't matter if you're human or demon. Once the smell enters your body, it will control your nerves. Only I can control this kind of poison. I'm asleep. Why aren't you falling asleep? Chapter 156. Dao Wuyang reverted to his original appearance. Unfortunately, Yin Qi could no longer see any of this. His entire body was controlled by a colorless and odorless poison, and he felt as if he had turned into a frozen corpse. After eating you, Grandpa Daoist will become even stronger. Dao Wuyang suddenly grabbed Yin Qi's chest. Blood-red light leaked out from Yin Qi's body. Yin Qi trembled, and his face was filled with terror. His black skin gradually turned white, and his appearance changed from that of a man in his early 30s to that of a man in his 60s or 70s. In the blink of an eye, he became an old man. While after absorbing all of Yin Qi's profound qi, Dao Wuyong was still not satisfied. He opened his mouth and spat out a huge fox-shaped mouth, biting Yin Qi's scrawny body into pieces. I went to the Withered Wood Paradise to look for Yin Qi. Quite a few people saw me, so I won't be able to return to the Immortal Sealing School. I'll go hide at the Celestial Drill Rat Emperor's place. After killing a disciple from the Immortal Sealing School, they'll definitely try to find me. Dao Wuyong changed his appearance again and rode his flying sword away from the Celestial Sealing Sect. Frozen Moon Cave inside the Immortal's Cave, the spiritual aura was buzzing. A large amount of spiritual aura was revolving around the Su Fong, and it also contained an astonishing amount of yang energy. He was still getting used to the method of cultivation without the Jindan. In the past, he mainly used the Jindan, and the absorption, condensation of qi, and spiritual tattoos had already formed a fixed pattern. Now, the way the spiritual power circulated in his body had completely changed. It went from his flesh and meridians to the yang meridian and seeped into the numinous treasure space in his right arm. Fortunately, his fleshly body had reached the great perfection stage. He had never thought that there would be a day when he would be able to control all of his spiritual power with his fleshly body. After several more months, he finally got used to using the Yang Meridian and the Enchanted Treasure Spirit Meridian as his energy source. His Dantian had almost lost its original importance. When he stopped cultivating and sensed his new state of cultivation without a Jindan, he found that many things were different. For example, the Daluo Heaven Sword Qi, one of the 7 great divine abilities. Now that he was no longer using the Jindan as his main cultivation method, the Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi had clearly changed. Especially his cultivation speed. It was much slower than before. This was because he was using other methods to cultivate the Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi. It was equivalent to creating a new set of Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi. There weren't many changes when cultivating the 9 Yang 9 transformations. This was because the 9 Yang 9 transformations used the Yang Meridian as the core. From a certain point of view, it was easier to cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations without the shackles of the golden core. The Yang Meridian became the core of the body's energy, making it easier to condense and circulate the Yang energy. His cultivation of the Dragon Snake Tornado, Illusory Fire Cloud, and Green Ferocious Primordial Fire also underwent obvious changes. Even the Flesh Fetus Divine Armor had to be reformed. Su Fong had to adapt to these divine abilities again. However, cultivating the 9 Yang 9 transformations was much more comfortable than when he had a golden core. He began to attack the second Yang Meridian, which was right beside the first. He used an ordinary meridian as his target and attacked it again and again. Controlling the Yang energy to rush through his meridians was almost a matter of course. Perhaps it was because he had the first Yang meridian, but cultivating the 9 Yang transformations did not take much effort. He could cultivate the 9 Yang transformations with a normal heart. Mysterious Yellow suddenly said excitedly, "Mysterious Yellow has completely fused with Master's magic treasure spirit vein. Now, as long as it fuses with the 3rd spirit vein and repairs Mysterious Yellow's original body, Mysterious Yellow will be able to completely fuse with Master. Magic treasures and flesh will fuse. The magic treasure is the body, and the body is the magic treasure. I met Zhao Wuji in the 100-Year Trials. I know him, but he doesn't know me. This is my best chance to get close to him. I need to figure out if he really gave my family Su's spirit vein to the Celestial Sealing Sect. He separated his consciousness and entered the first layer of Mysterious Yellow. He took out some pure essence pills that had reached the heavenly fusion realm and gave them to the Flying Tiger King. Of course, he also gave special treatment to Bai Ling was condensing her golden core and lacked pure essence pills. However, with the Green Feather King's help, she would become a golden core spirit beast very quickly. So many treasures. When he came to Mysterious Yellow, he brought 5 empty bags with his consciousness. They were the empty bags that belonged to Yin Qi and the others. After activating the Green Fiend True Fire and burning the seal, the empty bags were laid bare in front of Su Fong. First, he looked for gold and silver, as well as artifacts made of gold and silver. The 5 empty bags all had some gold, silver, or ornaments. They were all sucked into the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd and slowly refined by the Green Fiend True Fire. Looking at the treasures, there were hundreds of thousands of pure essence pills. Most of them were at the longevity realm, and some of them were at the heavenly fusion realm. They were not of much help to Su Fong. He planned to give some of these heavenly fusion realm pure essence pills to Bai Ling and the Flying Tiger King to cultivate. Some of them would be useful in the future. Just the hundreds of thousands of pure essence pills made Su Fong a rich man. Only an undying realm big shot could have such wealth. As for the artifacts, there were too few spirit treasures. They were all artifacts. From low-grade to mid-grade artifacts, there were close to 1,000 artifacts in the 5 empty bags. However, their quality was average. Only Yin Qi's bag had some mid-grade artifacts of good quality. In addition to the artifacts, there were millions of spirit stones of all kinds, from low-grade to mid-grade, and a small number of high-grade spirit stones. There were also all kinds of nameless gems that formed a small mountain. Su Fong also found many rune talismans, and they were all different types of rune talismans. There were a few teleportation talismans, but none of them were the precious teleportation talismans he had obtained in the 100-year trial. These teleportation talismans could teleport up to 50 kilometers. There were also some offensive talismans, such as fire-type talismans, sword-chi talismans, lightning-type offensive talismans, and so on. There were about a few hundred of them. Offensive talismans were similar to artifacts, but their effects were even more shocking. Rune talismans could instantly release all kinds of power. This was something artifacts could not do. In this 100-year trial, other than the pure essence pills, I also obtained many treasures. There is a profound magic ring that can assist in magic power cultivation, a high-grade 7-colored soul-absorbing bell, a mysterious jade pendant, and a teleportation talisman that can teleport up to 50 kilometers. Thinking of the best treasures he had obtained, he also checked what kind of treasures Yin Qi and the others had obtained in the 100-year trial. Especially Yin Qi. He was a genius on the mortal ranking and had received the focus of the withered Wood Dao Rites nurturing. Perhaps he would also obtain some treasures. There are over a dozen treasure boxes. In the depths of the bag, there were over a dozen treasure boxes floating in a golden barrier. Seeing these treasure boxes, he recognized that they came from the profound cave. But before he could sense them, Xian Huang sensed that there was an extraordinary treasure. Pulling one of the treasure boxes over, he saw a small cauldron sitting inside. It was not a cauldron for alchemy. Based on the runes on it, as well as some engravings, it was not a cauldron for alchemy. If it really was a cauldron, he would have thought a way to give it to Xiao Mei'er, a high-grade enchanted item. After confirming it, he felt his heartbeat quicken. This cauldron was an incredible enchanted item, a high-grade enchanted item. Furthermore, its quality was even higher than the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. This cauldron was called the Barbarian Mark Divine Power Cauldron, and its quality was close to the peak of high-grade enchanted items. Barbarian Mark Divine Power Cauldron. Su Fong asked the Green Feather King for advice. He didn't recklessly merge it with the cauldron. When the Green Feather King heard what he said, Su Fong felt like he had been splashed with cold water. Rumor is that this is a cultivation treasure of the barbarian race. Several thousand years ago, an expert of the immortal sealing sect went to a forbidden land and brought it back. As for how he obtained it, even this king doesn't know. This cauldron is very strange. There are some barbarian race characters inside that most cultivators are unable to decipher. Even if an ordinary cultivator can merge with it, they won't be able to truly activate it. But this cauldron can be used with one of the immortal sealing sect's 7 great divine abilities, little yellow gods, astral energy. It can unleash an incomparable divine attack. So this cauldron is a treasure that everyone in the immortal sealing sect wants. Little yellow gods, astral energy. Another divine ability, one of the 7 great divine abilities. In other words, Yanxi also wanted to cultivate little yellow gods, astral energy, which was why he had snatched the cauldron. In the sect of immortal sealing, a true expert is judged based on whether or not he cultivates all 7 of the great divine abilities of the sect of immortal sealing. Furthermore, if he cultivates all 7 to the great circle, he is qualified to be considered a consummate genius or an expert. He can become a junior elder, grand elder, or even a potential future house lord. Cultivating all 7 great divine abilities? Perhaps no one could cultivate all 7 great divine abilities as easily as Su Fong, because he had the support of the Green Feather King. But there were countless divine abilities, and the immortal sealing sect was the true sect of the minor world. Although the 7 great divine abilities were extraordinary, they couldn't compare to the illusory fire cloud. Cultivating too many of them would be a burden. That mysterious woman had warned him that the fewer divine abilities he cultivated, the deeper he cultivated them. Only then would he be able to reach greater heights in the future. Wait a moment. My gold core is already broken. I don't need to worry about divine marks. Suddenly, Su Fong realized that his gold core was already broken. Why would he need to worry about divine marks? The immortal sealing sect's 7 great divine abilities are the Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi, Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, Jade Sky Ice Profound Art, Little Yellow Gods Astral Energy, Ruler Heavenly Divine Steps, Myriad God Seal, and the Immortal Sealing Scripture, said the Green Feather King. The first 5 are relatively easy to learn in the immortal sealing sect, but the last 2, the Myriad God Seal and the Immortal Sealing Scripture, are much harder to learn. The Myriad God Seal is a shocking sealing art. This king's fragment of a human emperor's bright wheel is sealed by the Myriad God Seal. Only those who are undying and indestructible can cultivate it. As for the immortal sealing scripture, it's even more incredible. It's a scripture condensed from the insights of the past sect leaders of the immortal sealing sect before they left the Yizhua celestial world. Only the big shots of the immortal sealing sect can cultivate it. Furthermore, even the big shots can only cultivate it in part. The only ones who can truly cultivate it are the sect leaders and the grand elders. Su Fong said excitedly, "Senior, if the House of Immortal Sealing is using the Myriad God Seal to suppress the fragment of the human emperor's bright wheel, does that mean you have a seed of the Myriad God Seal inside of you, Senior?" "Of course I do. Sooner or later, this king will break the Myriad God Seal inside of him. And now, he's in your magical item. Once he gets stronger, you'll be able to break the Myriad God Seal inside of this king. You'll definitely need to learn how to break it." What about the immortal sealing scripture? This king really does have a seed of the immortal sealing scripture inside of him, but he doesn't know how to cultivate it. This king has mastered the Myriad God Seal and the other 5 divine abilities, but the immortal sealing scripture is a big problem. You already have the green fiendish true flame. Once you get the mental cultivation techniques of the House of Immortal Sealing, it will be very easy for you to cultivate the immortal sealing scripture. The green fiendish true flame is very good with the Myriad God Seal, and it can also be used with the other 7 divine abilities. You'll see how good it is in the future. This king also hopes that you can master the other 7 divine abilities. That way, you can become the core of the House of Immortal Sealing. When will this king be able to breathe freely? Green Feather King let out a long sigh. Su Fong put away the barbarian Mark God Power Cauldron and checked the other treasure chests. He found the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claws Cultivation Rune Talismans, as well as some not-so-powerful cultivation techniques. Unfortunately, there was no divine image. If there was a divine image, Su Fong's overall strength would increase. The other 4 empty treasure chests also didn't have any particularly outstanding magical items. Su Fong also began to collect information on rune talismans, formations, and alchemy. Heavenly Union cultivators could begin to grasp all kinds of knowledge. Chapter 157. Su Fong cleaned up the magic treasures. As for the barbarian Mark Divine Power Cauldron, he did not plan to fuse with it for the time being. Since he could not fully activate it, there was no need to fuse with it. Currently, he wanted to fuse with the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell, the mystic magic ring, and the flaming cloud spiritual gourd. Among them, the flaming cloud spiritual gourd was the most special as it was a natural spiritual item. Entering the flaming cloud spiritual gourd, the green evil true fire increased. The collected gold and silver were quickly refined. The gold and silver chi was directly absorbed by Su Fong's right arm. The gold and silver turned into a sea of gold and silver. Under the refinement of the green evil true fire, all the gold and silver turned into gold water, and finally, gold and silver chi. As the green ferocious primordial fire increased and became more profound, the quality of the flaming cloud spiritual gourd also improved. The improvement of a Dharma treasure and a cultivator complemented each other. The flaming cloud spiritual gourd would mature as Su Fong grew stronger. Whoosh, whoosh. Although the golden core was gone, Su Fong was a great fulfillment realm cultivator. His abilities did not disappear. Immediately, he heard the sound of wind breaking in the sky outside the cave. It seemed that many people had come to the mountain at the same time. In this mountain, only he and Dao Wuliang were cultivating. Naturally, these people came for them. Zheng Daoxin called from outside. Fong Yu, come out. Seems like they came for me. After landing, Su Fong felt that without the golden core, his body was even more refined. It felt like he was above the heavenly Tao. The void dust realm was indeed worthy of its reputation. It was a type of forbidden cultivator that was not allowed to exist. Everyone, don't get too excited. Let's wait for Fong Yu to come out and ask him. Senior brother Zheng, junior brother Dao Wuliang's cave has not had any traces of cultivation for a long time. It seems like he left the dojo a long time ago. Coming to the door, Su Fong heard many people talking through the barrier. Zheng Daoxin said again, this might not be related to Fong Yu. I hope that the senior brothers of the Withered Wood Dojo will not tell Fong Yu. His golden core is broken, and he is like a mortal. Someone said coldly, this is a serious matter. We will not let anyone go, nor will we wrongly accuse others. After hearing something, he activated the barrier at the entrance and stepped out. There were 40 to 50 cultivators in front of him. They were mainly experts from the Ice Moon Cave and Withered Wood Cave. Li Zhengyang. He glanced at the experts in the Withered Tree Dojo. All of them were on a mortal level. He even recognized one of them. It was Li Zhengyang, whom he had met once in the trial of the mysterious cave. Moreover, he had unknowingly offended Li Zhengyang because he had fought for the treasure. Looking at the disciples of the Frozen Moon Cave Heaven, Zheng Daoxin was the leader. There were Longevity Realm and Heavenly Union Realm experts. The ones he was most familiar with, other than Zheng Daoxin, were Cheng Jinxin and Song Chongxing. These two people didn't have much interaction with Zheng Daoxin, but they had a good relationship with some of the especially powerful figures in the Witherwood Dojo, which was suspicious. Something big must have happened, as there were so many immortal-level powerhouses from the two dojos. Fong Yu. Zheng Daoxin nodded at Su Fong and followed a few other immortal-level experts to the central open space. When Su Fong came down, Zheng Daoxin brought him to the immortal-level experts of the Withered Wood Dojo. These are the senior brothers of the Withered Wood Dojo. They are here to ask you about something, especially senior brother Chen Xian. He is the representative of the Withered Wood Dojo. Senior brother Chen. Since Zheng Daoxin introduced him, Su Fong bowed to the man in front of him. The man was in his early 30s. He didn't have long hair and had a crew cut. Coupled with his robe, he exuded a sharp aura. He was a powerful figure, and his cultivation level was not Longevity Realm. His aura and demeanor showed that this man named Chen Xian was a peerless powerhouse who surpassed the immortal level. No wonder Zheng Daoxin was so polite and treated him as an important guest. Chen Xian's gaze was cold. He immediately sized up Su Fang. Indeed, there is no aura of a golden core. Fang Yu, I am the representative of the immortal heaven from the Withered Wood Dojo. There are some things I need to understand from you. I hope you can cooperate. Su Fang nodded in front of everyone. At this moment, he heard some cold laughter. He took a look and saw that it was Li Zhengyang, Song Changsheng, Cheng Jianxin, and the others were watching the show. Chen Xian asked coldly. It was neither a normal question nor an interrogation, but it was more of the latter. Do you know where junior brother Wu Yang has been all this time? Su Fang shook his head. I don't know. It has been almost 2 years since the trial ended. During this period, I only saw junior brother Dao at the beginning. Recently, I thought he was in seclusion. Junior brother Yin Qi, a genius on the ranking list of young masters of our grotto heaven, has gone missing recently. Moreover, his life pattern has been broken, which means that he has met with an accident. Before he left the Celestial Sealing sect, someone saw junior brother Dao Wuyang meeting him and leaving the sect together. You have a good relationship with Dao Wuyang. You entered the sect together and cultivated together in this secluded abode. You should know where he came from and where he should be staying. Su Fang's anger shook the river. I only know this much. Do you think that just because Yin Qi crippled my golden core, I'll kill him or have Dao Wuyang kill him? Is there such a fool in this world? I'm not related to Dao Wuyang. Even if we're blood brothers, he might not be willing to kill an important disciple of the immortal sealing sect for me. This is something even a fool would be apprehensive about. How could Dao Wuyang not understand? Even taking a step back, if this matter was related to me, I would have left the immortal sealing sect long ago. What a glib tongue. Powerful. A heavenly union expert was so powerful. Perhaps none of the spectating experts had expected this. Even the grand, undying expert Chen Xian seemed to be a loss for words. But suddenly, a long whistle rang out. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. An expert, a peerless expert. Chen Xian immediately moved to the side. A figure without a physical body appeared above him. He bowed. Senior apprentice brother Yin, why have you personally come here? I told you to investigate a heavenly union disciple. I didn't expect him to be so unyielding. The figure swayed. It wasn't a true paragon. Fang Yu's heavenly union disciple, Yin Qi, is a genius of my Yin family. You just say it has nothing to do with you, and you want to cut off all ties? Senior apprentice brother Yin, aren't we interrogating him? Zheng Daoxin hastily explained. Get out of the way. A longevity disciple doesn't have the qualifications to speak to me. Who would have thought that this Yin family expert wouldn't even place Zheng Daoxin in his eyes? How arrogant! Zheng Daoxin still explained. This person is a disciple of my right. If he has done anything wrong, he has to go through the right first. Even if senior apprentice brother Yin is a high immortal heaven disciple, he still has to abide by the rules. You longevity disciple, you're courting death. That figure suddenly released an incomparably powerful energy that swept towards Zheng Daoxin. Not, however, as soon as the qi was released, the people below were scared witless. Suddenly, a cold qi swept over and caught the qi in midair. The Yin family expert saw that the cold qi had frozen over, and he coldly looked to the side. First level of the Undying Realm. Senior apprentice Sister Qian. A woman flew over, and all of the Withered Wood Rites disciples bowed. Qian Huanyin the Yin family expert's aura weakened slightly. So it's junior apprentice sister, Qian Huanyin. You've just advanced to the Undying Realm and entered the Ice Moon Grotto's immortal heaven. Why aren't you consolidating your cultivation base? Qian Huanyin frowned coldly. Senior apprentice brother Yin, you're in existence standing at the peak of the Undying Realm. Why have you suddenly come to my right? Just now, Master Yin sent me a message telling senior apprentice brother to quickly leave. If you cause trouble here, Master Yin will let you know the consequences of not following the rules. Fang Yu is related to Yin Qi's disappearance, so I have to investigate. The Yin family expert's tone clearly wasn't as strong as before. Qian Huanyin didn't back down. Let your right pass down a decree. With that decree, our right will be the first to interrogate Fang Yu. Everything will be done according to the rules. Let's go. The Yin family expert saw that Qian Huanyin wasn't moved by force or persuasion. In the end, he could only order Qin Xian to lead the Withered Wood rights experts away. Zheng Daoxin was unhappy. So what if he's an Undying Realm disciple? Qian Huanyin landed on the ground. Junior apprentice brother Zheng, go and see Master Yin immediately. The rest of you disperse. Yes. Zheng Daoxin waved her hand and flew into the sky with the rest. I didn't expect that Fang Yu would have senior apprentice sister Qian Huanyin's backing as soon as he entered the sect. Many of the disciples who flew into the sky were still discussing in private. Su Fang happened to hear them, and he bowed to Qian Huanyin to express his gratitude. Just take it as returning the favor. Qian Huanyin didn't mind. She carefully sensed Su Fang's aura and was surprised. Why does your body seem to be full of energy even though you've lost your golden core? Su Fang said, I've fused with an ancestral item in my body since I was young, and it gradually resonated with me. A lot of energy condensed in my body, so I can use it to provide spiritual energy for my body. I can barely fly on my sword. Senior apprentice sister, Yin Qi deserved what happened to him this time. It has nothing to do with me. Chapter 158. Of course I know. Yin Qi deserved it. Qian Huanyin's body was surrounded by a faint, mysterious light. He looked like a fairy in the depths of the mountain. Yin Qi ended up like this because of what he did. He relied on the fact that he was a genius and had Yin Changluo's support to rank on the human ranking list among the immortal level experts in the 7 Grotto Heavens. In the future, he will become an expert like Yin Changluo. Yin Changluo was the one who wanted to capture me. He's the strongest member of a Yin family in the Celestial Sealing sect. His cultivation base is between the 9th and 10th levels of the Undying Realm, and he has the power of immortality. What does immortality mean? If you cut off his arm, it'll grow back. Even if you cut him into pieces, it'll grow back. If my ancestor had the power of immortality, wouldn't that mean, as for longevity realm cultivators, if they lose their arms, they won't be able to regrow them on their own. They'll need external help. But Undying experts can do that. Yin Changluo is an extremely powerful figure in the Undying Realm. If I hadn't advanced to the Undying Realm, he would have definitely captured you to the Withered Wood Dao right. I have to work harder. Now that you've offended Yin Changluo and the people you offended during the trial, and people know that you have a powerful treasure, you won't be able to do anything in the Celestial Sealing sect. Yin Changluo will take back Yin Qi's empty pouch. I heard that Yin Qi obtained the Barbarian Mark Divine Force Cauldron during the trial. Now that it's in your hands, Yin Changluo wants to cultivate the minor yellow god's cosmic energy. He'll definitely take it back from you. Although Qian Huanyun sounded cold, it was obvious that she cared about Su Fang. Master Yin Kaifeng won't just sit by and watch. He'll summon you immediately. You've lost your gold core, so you're a toothless tiger. Only by relying on the frozen moon paradise can you avoid being killed. With that, Qian Huanyin flashed away. The mysterious light dissipated, and the aura she left behind could no longer be seen. Dao Wuliang, you old fox. His gold core had been shattered. Now that Yin Qi had been killed by Dao Wuliang, he was sure that even if Dao Wuliang was no match for Yin Qi in terms of strength, he would still be able to take Yin Qi's life. Su Fang couldn't do anything to that old fox. He was angry and resentful, but he was relieved. Dao Wuliang had killed Yin Qi and risked a lot to do all this. In the end, it was all for him. Dao Wuliang had attacked Yin Qi because he felt injustice for Yin Qi. Luckily, Dao Wuliang was a cunning old fox. Even if the Immortal Sealing sect was searching for him, he would have long grown a pair of wings and disappeared without a trace. Dead men tell no tales. I have to stick to my words and think of a way to escape. Using his wisdom, he had to think of a temporary solution to this problem. The most important thing was to continue cultivating. He had to get used to the cultivation methods of the Void Walkers. Only with strength would he be able to speak with a straight back. After resting in the cave for a while, Zheng Daoxin came to pass on a message to bring him to see Yin Kaifeng. At the Green Mountain Taoist Rite, Zheng Daoxin arrived in front of Green Mountain Taoist Rite. Just a moment ago, it was still Green Mountain Taoist Rite, but now it was a palace. Behind it was the boundless sky. This place didn't seem like the Ice Moon Paradise. Entering the palace, she saw a masked woman sitting at the front. She seemed to be one with the palace. It was like the palace was her divine image, and everything was under her control. Yin Kaifeng, the immortal sealing sex headmasters, had a status that surpassed an undying expert. Zheng Daoxin bowed and left the palace. A Xianguang barrier covered the door. Yin Kaifeng said, "Feng Yu, do you know about Yin Qi's death?" Su Feng said decisively, "Disciple doesn't know. You're very scheming, but you have to understand that this is the Ice Moon Taoist Rite. The only person who can protect you and keep you in the immortal sealing sect is me." Disciple isn't lying. I really didn't know that Dao Wuliang was going to attack Yin Qi. Furthermore, Headmaster, are you sure that Dao Wuliang killed Yin Qi? I'm not sure. You're very smart. Su Feng's question caused Yin Kaifeng to praise him. But don't use that kind of intelligence on me. I want to protect my disciple, and I won't allow him to hide anything. To tell you the truth, right now, there are all kinds of signs that point to Dao Wuliang killing Yin Qi. Now that he's gone missing, and his corpse is gone, Dao Wuliang naturally becomes a suspect. Su Feng said, "That's right. Disciple is innocent, and Dao Wuliang might also be innocent. We still don't know who killed Yin Qi. Who cares if Dao Wuliang is alive or dead?" Yin Kaifeng was very direct. "I've already seen through your little tricks. If your Jin Dan was still here, your achievements would definitely surpass Zheng Daoxin's. You're smart and sly, and to be able to make a name for yourself in the 100-year trials shows that you have unparalleled strength. If your Jin Dan was still here, I wouldn't hesitate to reject the withered would Taoist Rite suspicions. But you're now a cripple, and it's not up to me to offend the withered would Taoist Rite for you. After all, Yin Qi also has a headmaster behind him. Disciple understands." Su Feng didn't expect Yin Kaifeng to be so direct. He felt that Yin Kaifeng wasn't simple. Usually, he looked otherworldly, but after interacting with him, he realized that he was even more unfathomable. "Now I'm curious about you. How do you think I'll deal with you?" Yin Kaifeng's tone obviously changed. "Headmaster, how can an ordinary disciple like me guess your thoughts? I'm just doing my duty in staying in the celestial sealing sect. All decisions are in your hands. I want you to give me a reason to speak up for you. This is the reason." Su Feng stood up, and a large amount of sword qi surged out in front of him. The sword qi turned into a spatial river. Once it exploded, the large amount of sword qi could cut anything in a fine powder. "Daluo Heaven, sword qi." Yin Kaifeng was startled, and his eyes were filled with surprise. "I never thought that without your Jin Dan, not only would your strength not be affected, you would still be able to continue cultivating. You've even cultivated the first level of the Daluo Heaven Sword Qi to perfection. You've given me a reason to speak up for you." Putting away the sword Qi, everything returned to normal. "Headmaster, why are you protecting an ordinary disciple like me?" Yin Kaifeng slowly condensed his Qi. "You're so smart. Don't tell me you haven't figured out my intentions. Go. This matter has nothing to do with you, but I'm not sure if it has anything to do with Dao Wuliang." "Thank you, Headmaster. If I become successful in the future, I'll definitely repay your kindness." Su Feng bowed 90 degrees and left the hall. What a good seedling. It's hard for my Ice Moon Dojo to produce someone like Qian Huanyan. Now that there's an empty spot on the ranking list of young masters, the Ice Moon Dojo needs a genius disciple to stand up. The other headmasters are all doing their best to cultivate Qian Huanyan's successor. Although Zheng Daoxin is talented, he's not even a tenth of Feng Yu's talent. Yin Kaifeng took out a rune talisman and carved a spiritual pattern on it. The rune talisman then turned into a Xian Guang and flew away. Outside the hall, Senior brother Zheng. Zheng Daoxin accompanied Su Fong as they left the Green Mountain. Once they were in the air, Su Fong took out a jade bottle and gave it to Zheng Daoxin. Senior brother, please find senior sister Huanyan. Just tell her that I want to see her. Senior sister has already left the lower immortal heaven and is cultivating in the upper immortal heaven. Although it's a bit troublesome, you can find someone to tell her. Zheng Daoxin saw that there were many treasures in the jade bottle, so he agreed on the spot. Below the mountain. Kid, you're learning formations and runes because you want to control the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell as much as possible. That way, you'll be able to use your illusions to deal with your enemies. Su Fong was sitting cross-legged in the cave, but his consciousness was in the Xianhuang space. Green Feather King formed a hand seal, and runes entered Su Fong's consciousness. These are the cultivation methods of runes and formations. Most of them come from the risky sect. My demon race isn't very proficient in formations and runes. Su Fong was startled. When I was in the hidden forest, I saw Senior Dao Zhan Fox Mother's formation space. It was extremely powerful. That level of formation isn't difficult for her or this king. It really is a treasure. It's especially important to those who are currently cultivating the minor yellow heavens divine astral energy art. Could it be that Yin Qi really obtained it? Don't you think it'd be a pity to sell such a precious treasure? What's the point of a dead person wanting a mountain of gold and silver? I'm just a cripple. I might as well sell the barbarian marked divine strength cauldron and exchange it for a large amount of pure yuan pills. You're quite open-minded. All right, I'll help you spread the word. Only the Ice Moon Taoist, right? All right, forget about the other Taoists. Forgive me for not accompanying you. It's a waste of time. Where did you get your confidence from? Qian Huanyan was not used to seeing Su Fong, who had lost his gold core, maintain a confident posture and immediately flew away. You choose first. This king will tell you later. If you choose heavenly deity Fu, you won't lose out. As for Hua Tianyuan, he's not simple at all. But that person is fickle. So what if he promised you 10 years? Who knows if he really wants to protect you? All right. Green Feather King wouldn't joke about such an important matter. Su Fong immediately cupped his fists toward Hua Tianyuan, apologizing. Senior Apprentice Brother Hua, I'm sorry. Our business deal really hasn't been concluded. Hua Tianyuan hadn't expected Su Fong to really dare say such a thing. Heavenly deity Fu was also startled. It seemed he also didn't have much confidence. Normally, Su Fong would choose Hua Tianyuan, but he had chosen him. He immediately walked over to Su Fong. That's why I'm not late, right, Junior Apprentice Brother Fong? He even intentionally blocked Hua Tianyuan's path. Green Feather King laughed inwardly. Kid, I was right. Your business deal with heavenly deity Fu hasn't been concluded, but he's already protecting you. He's preventing Hua Tianyuan from attacking you. Senior really is a god. He had no choice but to prostrate himself in admiration toward Green Feather King. This was tantamount to going against the path of cultivation, going against the laws of heaven, breaking and disobeying the laws of cultivation created by human ancestors. Pa! Pa! First, he welcomed the friction and shattering of his physical body. The impact caused his muscles to be cut, and even his meridians were almost broken. The pain was indescribable, and the impurities in his body were even more terrifying than when he had a golden core. There were several times more. Perhaps this was in line with the normal state of cultivation. At this moment, Su Fong couldn't attend to one thing and lose sight of another. He forcefully controlled the energy of advancement to attack his physical body, but he couldn't attack his divine aperture. Therefore, The magic power in his divine aperture didn't have any shocking changes. The divine aperture only had a few more layers of defense. However, there were some shocking changes in his physical body. Divine runes. Divine runes. The divine runes that originally existed in his golden core, the divine runes that formed his golden core's barrier, had actually appeared in his physical body, which was the flesh fetus divine armor. The divine runes appeared one after another. There were a total of 5 divine runes. Although there were only 5 divine runes, when they intertwined, they formed an incomparable divine rune barrier. When they merged with the flesh fetus divine armor, the barrier that covered his golden core appeared in his physical body. This was an inexplicable change. Green Feather King also couldn't explain it. This was beyond his understanding. And within the flesh fetus divine armor, he could sense the faint aura of the green fiendish true fire, as well as many sword-shaped grand firmament sword chi. In addition to these 2 divine abilities, there was also the illusory fire cloud, the dragon snake tornado, and the strongest divine runes formed by the giant Vajra body. Green Feather King had never seen such a thing before. He had been paying attention to Su Fang's changes. He exclaimed, "Kid, you originally had a perfected physical body. Now that the divine runes have merged with the flesh fetus divine armor, you don't need to wear any armor. Your physical body is terrifyingly tough. The flesh fetus divine armor is a secret. I still need to find a treasure armor to protect myself." Su Fang didn't dare to be careless. He controlled the last bit of advancement power to attack his divine aperture. Breaking through to the 5th level of Heaven Union was a completely new experience. Fortunately, his reaction was fast enough. He could use his perfected physical body to control the advancement power to attack his Yang Meridian and right arm Spirit Meridian space. Otherwise, the advancement power would attack his empty Dantian. Most of the advancement power would be wasted, and he wouldn't get any obvious power. Unfortunately, there weren't many changes in his divine aperture.